so first two teams are Astro versus OGN Entus.
에이스 발표를 그 루다라는 친구가 할 건데 그것도 역시 또 한글이기 때문에 다시 이름이 돌아올 거예요. 네, 알겠습니다.
그냥 안 돌아와도
그래서 얘기해보시다.
네, 그냥 그 스크린
거거든요. 이쪽 마이크 껐어요.
앞쪽 마이크는 껐나요? 그 화면은 저희는 최대한 가는 게 좋긴 하거든요. 네, 현장 화면으로 가는 게 가장 좋긴 합니다.
사실 사운드가 그 현장 쪽으로 항상 얘기를 하거든요. 그러면 위에 얹으시는 거예요.
네, 알겠습니다. 감사합니다.
선발하는 과정부터 좀 더 신경을 쓰는 부분은 친구가 얼마나 하고 싶어 하는지에 대한 프로로서
다른 구단들이랑 아마 좀 원하는 게 다를 것 같아요. 플레이 스타일도 최대한 창의적이고 재미있고 예측 불허한 그런 이제 선수들을 원하고
좀 심도 있게 연구하고 함께 좀 발전해 나아갈 수 있는 선수를 원합니다.
프로게임단 팀으로서 활동을 하는 것이기 때문에 프로 선수로서의 마인드 같은 걸 먼저 우선 고려를 했습니다.
클래시 로얄 리그 아시아 2018 트라이아웃 코리아 지금부터 시작하겠습니다.
대한민국에서 사회 이익이라고 생각해요.
대형석궁 장인 친구는 굉장히 패기가 느껴졌어요. 자기를 원하는 팀을 한번 찾아보기에 나왔다. 딱 이거에서 자신감이 느껴지는.
자신감이요? 그냥 성격인 것 같은데.
블랙보드를 뒤집어 주세요.
그때는 원하는 구단이 없었는데 딱 쓰고 나니까 갑자기 힘존이 가고 싶어가지고.
크게 될 선수네.
샌드박스 선호 선수입니다.
저희는 A조와 마찬가지로 예선에서 다양한 덱을 창의적으로 플레이한 선수들 위주로
해냈다.
op.ggskeleton 선호 선수.
따봉TV 선수는 제가 봤을 때는 좀 완벽한 선수라고 생각합니다.
그래요?
꼭 데려가고 싶습니다. 네.
가봉!
OGN 엔투스의 선호 선수입니다.
일단은 예선 성적을 기준으로 성적을 뽑았고요. 가서 안아줄까 정도?
그쵸? 근데 지금 무덤!
자, 이름!
번개!
뽑아주시면 후회하진 않을 거예요.
좀 더 욕심이 생기는 거.
잘 나가는 팀으로 꼭 만들어 드리고 싶어요.
Welcome everyone to Clash Royale League Asia. My name is G Clef and we have Simon on the desk. We'll be bringing you the regional. Yesterday was the Southeast Asia. Today we have the Korean region live at OGN Stadium right here.
So yesterday's games were incredibly intense, and today we're looking for more and more action here.
You have the 4 Korean teams, pro teams now, joining us for the entire season. Clash Royale League Asia for the first time in 2018. 4 teams here. You have OGN Entus, op.ggskeleton, Sandbox, and Kingzone DragonX. Those will be the 4 Korean teams who are going to be playing today in the Korean regional match.
Yeah, so we have the Korean region today, and then tomorrow will be the Japan region. Yesterday was the SEA region. The first 2 weeks, it's just going to be region-based, and then after that we're going to expand. We're going to be playing against each other. And as we can see, OGN Entus here, they're probably one of the most established teams.
And waiting for you to do a video, first video to introduce you guys to the team. We're on, guys. Say hi once more. I'm G-Clef, and
I'm Simon. Nice to see you all.
And we are back with Clash Royale. Once again, last year we had the Crown Championship, Global Series Korea.
Well done.
And that was held last year, but it's been a long time since that final. I believe that was very early November. It's been about 5-6 months actually already.
It's been quite a long time since the last time me and you both sat here and watching some Clash Royale, but I'm super excited to be back again and doing this one more time.
And is it me or your mic is quite low?
I don't know. It sounds fine to me.
Okay, then it's fine. And we actually have the Korean. Before we go into the rosters, let's take a look at the overview. It's for the first time. It can be a little bit complicated as you see, but if you read through and see what happens, we have 3 regions in Asia: KR, Japan, and Southeast Asia. We'll be having a day of each for the first 2 weeks, and then we'll have regions going against each other. We'll have a pennant race in that way.
Yeah, so the schedule will be from now or yesterday until July 14th. We're live here in the Seoul OGN Stadium. The other games are elsewhere in the world. We have games in Japan, we have games in, I think it's Taiwan?
Yes, I believe Taiwan has a stadium that was yesterday. And tomorrow, Sunday, will be the Japan one. And as I said before, it will be the pennant race along with 8 total weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then after we have all the results from each one, first place will actually go straight to the semi-playoff or the playoff or the final from each region. And we will have all that later on. The postseason will have the wild card match, semi-playoff, and then playoff and the finals. It will be a long season of 4 months.
Yeah, this is the longest season I think we've had for Clash Royale. But just to make sure that you guys know the basic rules, each team will ban 1 single card every set. And then they will have a few minutes just to change their decks just in case a ban does hit most of their decks. They have active rosters. They're prepared for this, but the bans can really throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, sometimes as we saw from the Southeast Asia region yesterday, we had the same bans from both players, and then it ended up not working well for them. They were really prepared because you end up banning the ban you predict. You know that's going to be the ban because that's yours, but if it's the same one from the other person, you don't really have to change anything, but just having the last minute, actually 3 minutes to build your initial decks, just so that you can play the best of 3. It's going to be best of 3. Of course, we have to go through this once again. 3 games in 1 set, and if you win 2 sets, if you have a 2-0, that's a match now.
That's
so
over.
There is a best of 3 and a best of 3 inside that best of 3. Do you get it?
It's a whole Inception kind of thing right now, like building things on top of other things. But yeah, like basically best of 3 matches. 1 set is a best of 3, and then the match is a best of 3.
다 편하게 맞춰주시고 도와주셔서 그거에 맞춰서 저희 실력만 더
Let's go
올리면
to
되지
OGN Entus. We'll have a short video on them.
하울 선수? 하울 선수죠 이번엔. 선수 겸 코치를 하시는 중이시거든요.
일단은 제가 공략이나 분석 같은 걸 좀 많이 좋아하다 보니까 팀원들한테 많은 도움이 될 수 있을 것 같아서 계획성 있게 최대한 효율적으로 연습을 할 생각입니다.
잘 이끌어주고 있어서 잘 따르면 될 것 같다고 생각합니다. 프로리그를 시작하게 되는데
클래식 로얄에서 OGN 엔투스도 강하다는 걸 입증하고
명성에 걸맞는 성적으로 좋은 모습 보일 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
밥 먹고 연습만 해서 op.ggskeleton 반드시 이기겠습니다.
We go OGN Entus, a team very well known in the Korean esports scene as one of the longest history and tradition in Korean history ever since the StarCraft days.
Yeah, they have been here since day 1 of esports essentially, and they just keep going and going and going, and they've always had this kind of youth aspect to their teams. They like young players who are creative. They're really good, but they have a lot of potential to get even better. And that's what I think OGN Entus here didn't really pick the easy choices. They picked a lot of people who are relatively unknown to us in the pro league scene.
And they actually have a legacy player has Astro, as I'm given the data here, as he could not finish the 20 wins from the league challenge. So he was picked by the team. He was selected as a legacy player into the team. So Astro is a new player in the team. We actually have a lot of new players from the Korean region.
So do you want to explain what the legacy thing means?
Yeah, of course a team cannot select up to 2 players who actually did not go through the 20 challenges or tryouts. But let's take a look at the op.ggskeleton before we explain a little bit more.
상대가 카드를 놓는 위치, 이 선수가 약간 어떤 성향인지 분석해 주셔서 거기에 엄청 좀 끌렸어요.
제 성격도 일단 좀 분석적이고
팀도 그렇고 선수도 그렇고 비슷한 부분이 많은 것 같아요.
저희 팀에 TV가 많아요. 따봉 TV, 그리고 진 TV, 그리고 의찬 TV.
저희 팀 이제 따봉 TV님 같은 경우는 세계 랭킹 1위로 달성하신 만큼 따봉 덱 정말 많이 유명하고 현재도 많이 쓰는 덱입니다.
제가 따봉님 덱을 몇 번 써봤거든요. 그래서 되게 좋아가지고
네, 팬심도 있어가지고 덱도 따라하고 그랬어요.
저는 솔직히 인기 있다고 생각하진 않고 3개월 정도 방송했고 시청자 수는 한 1,000명 정도 됐습니다.
경계되는 팀 없다라고 말하고 싶은데 싫어하시겠죠?
목표 우승이 저희 목표입니다.
저희 팀을 만나서 제 분석력에 날개를 달았기 때문에 모두 다 이길 자신 있습니다.
OPGG 스켈레톤의 엄청난 데이터 분석력과 엄청난 노력,
OPGG 스켈레톤만이 분석적인 스타일을 보여드리겠습니다.
That's it, OPGG Skeleton. Of course, Little Skeleton, one elixir cost is not the most powerful one, but they are the only roster with a 5-man roster from Korea team.
Yeah, and they also have a lot of YouTube players now. For most people, that doesn't really make much of a difference, but in terms of Korea, the YouTubers are easily the most recognizable names when it comes to Clash Royale.
It's the biggest platform also when it comes to the game. And we have lots of great players. Actually, Jin TV also was picked up as a legacy player, as I was explaining before. The players called legacy player, they did not have to finish their 20-win challenge. Also, they did not have to come into the tryout. They, team can have up to 2 legacy players on the team. They can select the player and join the team straight up instead of going through all the tryout and the challenge instead.
So basically, they just didn't have to be drafted. They could be brought into the team as kind of free agents, I'm guessing.
Yes. Legacy player does sound cooler.
Yeah, it does. It makes it sound like they have this history behind them that, like, maybe this guy's been playing Clash Royale for...
That's how good they are. They get selected from the team directly. And it's going to be... And we actually have... We'll soon have the matchup. Of course, they have each team has to turn their roster in the day before. Not the day before, I would say. Before the midnight time.
Yeah, so about probably 12 hours ago, they had to submit their player rosters. And the first match we are going to have, I believe, will be Astro for OGN Entus, who is one of the legacy players, I think, and OP.gg's Jin.
Jin TV. So we will actually have the legacy players going against each other for the first 1v1 match.
Yeah, here we can see Astro rank. His highest trophy count is 5,525. Favorite cards: Princess, Tornado, and Ice Spirit. Ice Spirit just got changed. Not sure whether that would still be his favorite card.
I think Ice Spirit still will be. Still pretty good for 1 elixir cost. Of course, got a big nerf a few days ago. And even if we do have a lot of data on the players and the decks they like to play. But because of that big balance patch a few days ago, we cannot predict 100% of what they're going to play. It's a lot less likely, I would say, with our predictions.
Yeah, I think Ice Spirit is still a really good card if you need a lot of cycle. But if you're looking for that freeze effect, it is much better to use other things.
Yeah, here comes Jin TV from OPGG Skeleton on the other side. By the way, their logo looks super cool.
Yeah, it's kind of deadly, right? Like, I'm afraid it's gonna jump out the TV screen and like attack me or something like that.
Black and white, that's exactly. Of course, on their jacket it is dark blue color. Jin TV favorite cards: Golem, Elixir Collector, and also the Rocket. We'll be having our ban cards from each side very soon.
Yeah, Golem Elixir Collector is usually a beautiful pairing. Like, the Golem is such a good card, especially at tournament level where all levels are equalized. The Golem is an incredible tank, and it takes so much work to get it down. And then even when you kill it once, you gotta kill it 2 more times.
Yeah, this is a tournament level. It's Legendary 1, and it's 1479. It will be fair and square for all the games. We do have the ban cards for 1v1s. Set number 1, Infernal Dragon from Astro. And Jin TV bans out the Lightning Spell.
Yeah, Lightning Spell is a bit of an interesting choice, to be honest, because I don't know about you, but when I play, I think Zap is a lot better because it's cheaper. Like, Lightning is a big commitment for what you do. So I'm guessing banning the Lightning means he's preparing for probably Elixir decks?
Maybe he's ready for some structural play, or maybe he's trying to build up, not like the Goblin Gang or the small units just diving in. It's going to be the mid-range, maybe 4 or 5 elixir cost units diving in, because that Lightning Spell can take most of them out at the same time. I think these kind of bans really show what they're going to play, or it could just be a bait.
It could be. Now we have about 3 minutes while they just mess around with their decks. Make sure that all their decks do actually meet these bans, because if you put one of those ban cards in your deck and you play it, you're disqualified, I believe, right?
Not disqualify, but you will be losing the game automatically. That's quite harsh.
And you'll
for
probably
playing,
get a
for
slap
making
in the head
mistake.
from your teammates.
Maybe
as well,
because
right?
then you can have up to it's specified in the rules that you can have up to two teammates to talk about your discuss about your deck for the first 3 minutes, and discussing right now trying to predict the cards coming from the other side. Maybe he's trying to have this kind of. He usually plays his deck, but maybe he's trying something else with the Inferno Dragon. This is unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, banning Inferno Dragon to me feels like he's gonna play Golem himself.
Something heavy, right? It does feel like it.
Yeah, because Inferno Dragon is a great tool to use against Golems, because Golems are these big, heavy tanks, and the Inferno Dragon's damage builds up over time. It continues to do more and more and more damage the longer it is locked on a unit. So it's a perfect counter to the Golem. However, banning it out does kind of show maybe you're going to go for a Golem, maybe a Giant. If you want to play the slightly budget version, it's a bit of Elixir less.
Yes, the budget version is the Giant, or even the P.E.K.K.A. We saw bans on P.E.K.K.A. many times, and then using the Giant, because P.E.K.K.A. has been P.E.K.K.A. has been used as a counter to the Giant. I believe more than a couple of times last night in the Southeast Asian region. It'll be also very interesting to see the different meta from the different regions. We saw lots of Golem play, lots of Tornado being banned actually from the Southeast Asia. May not be the same, and after watching 2 cards banned already, it seems a little different.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. With this regional, we're going to be within our own meta, but then after we start going to other places and we start having Korea versus SEA, Korea versus Japan, it's going to be a clash of metas, and it's going to be so interesting to watch how 2 metas can kind of beat each other out.
As Astro didn't even finish his 20-win challenge, and when Jin TV actually did, and he ended up using lots of Dark Prince, of course, before the nerf even more. And actually, Inferno Dragon is used in his favorite deck a few times, so I think Astro really got his studies done already, banning that Inferno Dragon, because Jin TV does like to play that card.
Yeah, but I mean, Inferno Dragon is very replaceable.
It seems like we are ready to jump into our first game from Korea. Both players just getting ready, just making sure everything is set up before we head into game number 1. The very first one, 1v1 between Astro versus Jin TV.
Alright, so here we are. We have Astro in the blue at the bottom, and we have Jin TV in the red at the top for op.ggsk.
And this is going to be the most exciting moment.
There's the Ice Spirit.
His favorite comes out already with the Tombstone. Starting with the cycle. There's
Expo.
the Expo already placed for Astro.
That feels like it's a bit too early, especially with the Tombstone already down. It's not going to be able to hit that tower as much, and you want that Expo to lock onto the tower as soon as possible, because it's an expensive card just for a little bit of chip.
It did some damage, and you didn't end up losing too much because you traded with the Poison Spell and the Mega Minion.
Yeah,
They're
he's still
about
one
the same.
elixir up as well. He's, even with the crossbow going down, he is still 1 elixir ahead.
It was just 1 down when the Ice Bullet was hit, but Log will just trade, and also a tiny bit of chip damage onto the tower.
And there's a crossbow again, this time on the other side. And the Executioner coming down. Executioner does a pretty good job. That seems a waste of a Tornado there, though. Maybe just using it to cycle, but that's an expensive cycle.
I think he was trying to predict the units coming out right next to them. So trying to take the Executioner out, but that was a big miss. Astro was not even thinking of placing even a single thing next to it.
Yeah, but they're doing decent chip damage to each other. I mean, there's only 200-300 to each tower, but every little helps, especially when we get down to that overtime period, where next tower wins. Each little bit of chip damage will definitely help the player out. Here's another Expo. If it connects to the tower straight away, oh, perfect Ice Golem there. Just taking away the aggro from the tower onto its...
Yeah, Tesla locked in. Jin TV still holding his key card, the final card, having a question mark. And with the Tesla now, Astro will have a great way of defending his own Expo. Of course, against the Poison Spell and the Log will take a lot of damage, but that's baiting out the spells. So in that way, if he wants to make another push I think it's a great way to push in.
Yeah, and once again, the poison comes down on that Expo. It just chips away at its duration, chips away at its life. There's the Executioner again. You see a Fireball come out just to heavily damage the Executioner. And a few more hits of the tower.
Because he has already placed the Tesla onto the other side. He had to stop that a little bit, at least damage it enough to make your Princess Tower being allowed to take that as Executioner down. Jin TV still holding that final card.
Yeah, we have about 20 seconds left. Still one card to be revealed. I'm going to guess it's a Rocket at this point, because otherwise it would have come down before. Executioner, Skeletons against Executioner isn't the greatest trade, but when it's that low next to the tower will be able to finish it off without taking any damage.
There's also a chance for some heavy cost. Frontline pusher with a high health point. But because there is a Tesla onto the other side, it will get locked onto the structure if it's a Giant or the Golem.
Yeah,
he's waiting for the moment when he has a lead in the Elixir.
Yeah, the crossbow did do a little bit of damage, but it is only slow chipping damage. Oh, it is locked on, and it has a lot of health at this point. That could be quite deadly here for Astro. That could completely damage that tower. Takes it down to about 1,000, but that is the most damaged tower in this game right now.
And he has another one placed right after. Tesla Tower still pretty strong. Holding that right now as a turn of defense. Yeah. What does Jin TV has right now to defend against this Expo? Really locked onto the tower a little bit too late on that Executioner.
It does look like it's going to get it down to about 400. So that tower now is ripe for the taking. The Executioner dies to the Tesla Tower. Tesla Tower is such a good card at this point. Really defends well. Oh, he's gone for the defensive Expo here, right in the middle.
Because he's got the log, he's got the Fireball. He can just clear out with the spell, but here comes the Graveyard. An Archer placed right next to the Astro, waiting for this card to be out.
There's the poison come down from Jin. Trying to do a little bit of extra damage, but this tower will go down to one more Fireball.
Or another log plus some damage will just finish it very soon. Down to
53, there's the Fireball. Astro takes game one here. That was a pretty good game there from both. It's nice to see the Expo come out again. Expo is such a strategic card.
Thinking in a way, a lot of Korean players play in this way. Very, very defensive, extremely defensive, fast cycles with low cost. Jin TV had lots of good defending tools, but once he was late on the Elixir, dropping down when the Expo landed straight onto the tower, he knew that he had to do something else. His Graveyard used not really the best tool when he doesn't really have anything else to soak up the damage.
Yeah, the Graveyard is especially useful with someone like a Miner who can get straight up to the tower, take a lot of hits, and then the Skeletons start doing a ton of damage. But it just didn't quite feel right in that deck, if you ask me. Like, I feel like something like a Rocket would have been a little bit better.
Well, maybe having a lot more spells to do direct damage to the tower along with the units. Maybe if Astro had some heavy units coming in, but he has almost none. And also, Rocket is a good way to just counter that Expo. Just throw down the Rocket to the Expo, and Expo will barely survive, land on few hits. That's also a good counter spell.
I mean, he did a really good job dropping those Ice Golems to tank up a lot of the damage early on, and then throw in the logs, throw in the spells. But I guess we're getting ready to go into game number 2.
Yep, we are ready to jump right into game number 2 of the first set between these two players. Astro and Jin TV. Astro leading right now, so into game 2. Here we go, game 2 between Astro and Jin TV. Astro takes the lead with set game number 1.
Once again, Astro in the blue, Jin in the red. Ice Golem comes down, Archer's down for Jin, and an Expo for Jin this time. Anything you can do, I can do better. Wow, it really does seem like there's a bit of a trade here, because Astro now drops the poison onto that crossbow, but he doesn't have anything to soak up that damage. He's doing quite a bit of work to that bottom tower.
And Jin TV coming out with the Expo on his own this time.
Mega Minion's gonna die pretty quickly to both of these towers. Doesn't really get the job done, but there's another Expo. These are some incredibly quick cycles here. Their decks are super low energy, super low elixir costs, just so you can keep throwing that elixir, the Expo out over and over and over again.
Once the Expo is done with the tombstone, then Mega Minion will barely take it out at the perfect time.
Didn't get any hits on the tower that time, but it doesn't matter. He can come out with another one and then keep testing the defenses of Astro. Jin is playing this Expo deck the way it should be played. You constantly keep throwing these things down just to keep that threat.
I'm in Tombstone, boys. Even an Ice Wizard hints us that he wants to have some great push. This is just for the defense. He's still holding in his key cards.
There's another Expo. And a Tesla down for Jin. That's going to make quick work of that Ice Column. He has to start throwing things down to take the damage. Once that Tombstone's down, it's going to start hitting the tower.
And the log is thrown. The direct damage.
Take it.
A few hundred more off to the tower, down to 558.
Yeah, that tower is looking worse for wear right now. The Expo has done so much work. Astro's defense just has not been as good as Jin's defense was last time.
Placing down everything, of course. He's still waiting for that perfect mark to actually make his key card play. So far, Expo has been winning this more than enough to actually get it down with the timing on the Tombstone now.
The problem is that Tesla Tower is still going to be there. Tesla Tower does so much work at just keeping things away. Minion builds, they go flying from him.
They're in the graveyard now, trying to make the play along with the poison spell on top of it also. Jin TV responds with the Archer, but the poison will take out the Archer. Perfect. Almost perfect defense, but takes some damage there.
He took quite a bit of damage on the actually. He's down to 1,300. But all Jin has to do now is hold out another 5 seconds, and he's going to have the victory here. One more spell will take out that tower. So Astro has it all to do here to finish that tower off before Jin can get that fireball, and he didn't quite manage to do it. Jin takes game number 2.
Hey, that's the power of Expo, Simon, as I'm also an Expo guy.
Yeah, me too. I didn't play that much Expo last time we were here, but after watching you play it and you being like, oh, look at me, I'm so good, I decided to copy your deck.
It used to be without the Tesla Tower and with a rocket instead to finish off, but after a big buff on the Tesla Tower a long time ago, a lot of teams actually prefer to use the Tesla instead, and that's what we're seeing right here in OGN. Call for the timeout. We'll have 2 minutes instead of 1 for the final game of set number 1 here between these two.
Yeah, so this timeout will just mean that we have a bit of extra time for the coach to talk to his players, I guess.
And you can only call for 1 timeout during the entire match.
So they're using it very early here, but I'm guessing they kind of need to.
Yeah, because once you lose this first one, then if you end up losing 2v2, you may never get your chance to have that ace match at the end. It's best of 3 between the sets also. The winner of game 3 will just take the entire set for the team, so this one matters a lot. It's the very beginning of the tournament.
It's hard to make a prediction because it is still so early on in the tournament. This is day 1, so it's the earliest we can possibly be. But right now, I feel like Jin's defense, even though he lost that first game, Jin's defense was a lot better than Astro's defense. But Astro's offense seems to be a little bit better than Jin's. So these players are kind of pretty balanced. One's weakness is the other's strength. You know what I mean?
We just had the counter decks to each other. Astro playing the Expo first time against the Graveyard that Jin TV brought, and it was the opposite in game number 2. Astro actually using that Graveyard instead, and Jin TV using the Expo. May keep it to the same deck, they don't want to reveal too much on the first day, but I think this game, that if you want to bring a win to your team for the match win later on, I think this one you need to maybe change it up. Chrono Dragon ban from Astro, Lightning Spell ban from op.ggskeleton, and I think we are ready to jump into game 3 as players are ready, getting their headsets right in.
Yes. So just to quickly point out that a lot of OPGG
but we're ready to jump into final game of this between these two. Let's go right in.
So here we are once again. Just taking a look at my notes, Jin actually hasn't managed any big finishes, but between the two teams, OP has 2 high finishers in previous tournaments. We have Chasu, who was in last year.
Oh man, this may just be Expo versus Expo.
You think?
I have a feeling we have Archers, Golems, Logs dropping down from Jin TV also. I think Astro just got a better cycle on it. We see Fireball and
yeah, there's the Tesla as well. The Tesla does make quick work of that Expo. But I'm expecting Jin now to throw out his own Expo, maybe next to the Tesla?
It's just like having another structure right in front of your Expo. That is the worst feeling. The timing after that Tesla would be the perfect chance for you to drop your own Expo. And just reading your opponent's cycle right now should be on top of their head.
All players are. There's Jin's Expo. And there's the Expo for Astro as well. There's a lot of work going into this middle bridge here. There's just so much chaos going on as both Expos are looking at each other. Jin's Expo is going to do damage onto that tower.
They have a similar cycle. Both players actually holding that Tesla right now. Astro did not even end up using the Tesla. Not really. I thought he was going to save up some elixirs in that attack, but ended up actually taking more damage and not gaining too much value out of that.
No, not really. We should have seen, like, the problem with Expo versus Expo is it's very, whoever puts their Expo down first is going to have the biggest issue. So here it looks like, I don't know, it looks like Jin's going to sacrifice that tower a little bit to deal damage onto Astro's tower. So they're kind of trading here.
They're going all in. They have the Tesla, and that was super late if we just be traded. And this one actually locks onto the Golem later on.
I was just wondering why.
But this will be a game if Jin TV just continues to the maximum damage goes in. Only 45 seconds left for Astro to actually destroy. There's that Tesla now.
And he drops once again. He's dropping on that side, trying to take out that tower. I'm not sure why Astro's Expo changed target.
I think he got hit by the Ice Spirit just for a second.
Yeah, that would do it. That would change the target. Because otherwise we'd see both of these towers down instead of just Astro's tower.
Once you have a Princess Tower down, when you're using the Expo deck, you have a lot less room to work on. You can't really push the other lane because all the units get dropped down right next to it. It's really hard. So Astro's right now is in big trouble. Still 800 to go down. He wants to come back.
What Jin needs to do here now is keep throwing out those units to try and soak up the Expo damage, and he will take the win. And there we go. Astro loses. Jin, op.ggskeleton's Jin takes set number 1 in today's first match.
He wins. He lost the first game, but brings it back with a straight 2 wins right after first set. But even after OGN Entus calling for that timeout, not enough. Expo deck leave one single Ice Spirit, and the placement and the timing of Jin TV actually putting Tesla right next to the Expo worked out in favor of himself so well, because when Astro wants to put that Ice Spirit right next to it, it will get deleted instantly by that Tesla tower.
Yeah, the Tesla does make quick work of anything with low hit points. It's just, it has such a high attack speed that it just deals so much damage. It's really hard to get near with those small cycle units.
Also, if it's not hitting anything, it just goes down. It doesn't get affected by any other structures like the Expo on the other side. It was in range, but once it goes down on the ground, it will not be hit by any spells. So
that makes it quite a tricky card to play around, to be honest. But it was so good. It was such good use of that Tesla.
Let's take a look at the highlight of the first set here. Game number 1. Yeah,
Expo here against those tombstones. Astro did really well in that first game on his offense, to be honest.
Tombstone and Graveyard. First time Astro had having the Expo, and then the second game, Jin TV ends up having the Expo.
So game number 2 here, they kind of swapped decks. It felt like Jin bringing out that Expo deck, Astro using the Ice Wizard Poison. I wasn't even sure what the finisher was supposed to be here. but he just never really had a chance to add a finisher because the pressure from Jin TV just finished this too quickly.
The archers are minions or archers. Great way to deal with the graveyard. Just like that, it's not so hard unless you're thrown by another spell. Here, the final game between the two. Astro had early start. I'd say he had a better start of the game.
Yeah, his cycle was a lot better in that first opening exchanges. He got 2 crossbows down very, very quickly. But after that, he kind of lost the rhythm that he needed to keep up.
I think he waited that Tesla tower. He waited so long to drop that Tesla tower on his own. He just got distracted by the Ice Spirit. The connection onto the tower changed.
That Ice Spirit hitting the crossbow, changing the target, and basically allowed Jin to win here because otherwise they would have traded those towers quite easily.
That's why Ice Spirit is still a very, very good card, especially in competitive when you just want to freeze a structure or in units, change its targets, or it goes basically countering a lot of the structure.
Yeah, at that point it kind of felt like a Zap Spirit, you know what I mean? Like it just does the work of a Zap for 1 elixir less.
Yeah. That is actually true. A lot less damage, of course. There are reasons why, and very low in HP will get taken out super easily by any sort of damage.
So now we're gonna enter that set 2, which is gonna be a 2v2. We're gonna have OGN Entus, I think Howell and Q-Mills?
Yes, we'll have that up right now. Howell
is actually the player coach. He is the coach of this team as well. From what I've seen in my notes, it's kind of like he is just the player coach. Favorite cards being Bomb Tower? Royal Giant? Like, what? I mean, Royal Giant, to me, I never donate Royal Giants. I never donate Elite Barbarians.
It's a bait. That's a bait. Or you can put down anything you want on your favorite. You can have your personal favorite, but you might not end up using it because you have to climb the ladder, you know?
Well, you can't climb towers and bomb towers, that's for sure. Q-Mills here, rank 5824. Another veteran of OGN Entus, to be honest. Like, that's a pretty high rank. And we see Lock, Tornado, and Poison. So this guy likes his spells.
Q-Mills used lots of cards, like Poison Spell, along with the Ice Golem and the Ice Wizard. So he's a very icy guy, and he likes lots of spells, as we can tell here. All the spells are his favorite 3.
Spells are very, very useful in 2v2. Pulling things back, and you can chain. Like, you can chain Tornado and keep something in place for a very, very long time.
Well, competitive 2v2, it's a new format here in Royale League Asia, as we have competitive 2v2 for all regions.
And here we have op.ggskeleton, Oichan, I guess that's it. Oichan, yeah. So he was the Crown Championship Global Series Korea round of 16. Oichan?
Oichan, yes.
I don't remember him last year.
Round of 16, yes. He was there.
So
he was using some other IGN at the time. And he was in there. Certainly, I do remember his Korean name. That's why he's going with the Hee-chan. And also having lots of the team members. OGN Skeleton. Second member for TV2 will be Chashu. This will be Chashu Topop from last year. He was also in the same tournament. Went up to the semi-finals, actually.
Got to the semi-finals in the Casper Cup, which was for the 2nd seed into the global tournament last year.
He was very close.
Very
close, but he used lots of golden gems. Very, very heavy decks, as we can tell. He loved all the heavy decks along with the golem, the Night Witch, the casual, the classic combo. Pushing in along with the Elixir Collector. He had lots of those classic combos, making sure he has the lead or at least trade into the tower.
Yeah, Chasu's decks were always these super slow, build up a giant push and steamroll the enemy kind of decks. And whenever he tried anything different, it never really worked for him. Like he felt like a one-trick pony last season, but hopefully since then, and now that he's in 2v2 and he's in a team, he's developing his game so he has a bit more to play around with.
And 2v2, we saw lots of golem play, lots of poison being dropped down back in Southeast Asia. If you have the golem, if you have a golem specialist on your team for 2v2, of course, it's a different story. But when you're looking for that perfect timing on the Golem, he should be on top because he's the man with the Golem.
Can't argue with that, and it looks like we're ready to drop into the game, maybe?
Oh,
the ban
cards. There will be the tornadoes again. Tornadoes are just so powerful.
Especially in 2v2 where you can drop tornado after tornado, so it's no surprise that both teams here ban the tornado. This does, however, open up pretty much every other strategy in the book.
Lots of tornado bans, continuing from yesterday on 2v2. Waiting for the day that we have poison spell ban. That will actually change the 2v2 quite a lot, as because it's 2v2, a lot of units are clumped up even more. That's why tornado is so powerful in that way, gathering everything and also doing damage. But I would say poison's right below that in terms of the tier list.
And in 2v2, when you can talk to your partner, you can have one person tornado with the other person with another elixir to drop a rocket, and that will kill practically everything. There's not much that survives the rocket.
Not too many units, of course. Some will, of course.
Golem would survive. That's the giant, maybe? Giant just about survives, I think.
And there are lots of structures. We saw lots of Goblin Hut put down against the Golem. We had great pushes. Even Flying Machine uses a lot of the time from Southeast Asia. Let's see what the Korean teams are having in hold for that 2v2. The first game is coming up very soon. Should be ready. It seems like they are done with the deck revising. They don't even need to do anything because they were expecting the tornado ban. Both teams are ready to go already, it seems like.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the go-ahead to go in. It looks like everyone here is super friendly and they're just having a good time playing Clash Royale. Like, do you blame them? It's such a fun game to play with friends. Like, when we play to see who settles the bill at dinner, like, you know, and you beat me and I have to pay again, and my wife murders me when I get home. Like, it's a fun experience to play. So playing with your friends in 2v2.
So Simon, I need you alive, and we are ready. Sorry to cut you off there, but we are ready to jump into our first 2v2 from Korea. Let's go into game number 1 of set 2. First game, 2v2, Hal and Cumulus from OGN Entus. Good challenge charger from op.ggskeleton. First Miner.
A lot of aggressive play here, Miner and Bats. That's a pretty aggressive start if it works, but unfortunately just cancel that instantly.
We saw lots of double prints push.
Yeah,
and it seems like it will be the similar deck coming out.
Yeah, we'll probably see a lot of Princes, Dark Princes in this. It's a very popular card in 2v2 because it does so much work.
It goes straight in. We saw the double Prince pushing all the way through the King Tower yesterday.
Golem for op.gg dropped at the back. That's going to start this super slow but super heavy push.
This is a different type of strategy. op.gg looking for the big major push for the entire tower, when OGN trying to do some chip damage with the Miner.
Oh, and a balloon as well. This Dark Prince is pushing that Golem so far forwards, but the balloon is going to log
the rage comes. The fireball is not enough to take the balloon out. Gets one.
He's going to get 2. Oh, just not quite 2 hits. So much damage.
Does a ton of damage. That push was gigantic. It maybe even hit Bats come at a perfect time to delay that attack.
Yeah, it was a very, very heavy attack, and it did a lot of work for op.gg.
With that great push, Golem was just to take all the damage instead, just to make the balloon able to connect onto the tower. Great placement there also.
Yeah, if only you could zap your own units to make them attack something else, I think they would have been able to defend. But since you can't change your units' targets, they just have to keep attacking what they're attacking until it dies.
That's the great mechanics of Clash Royale. Also COC. You have to read where they are going. There's a Miner doing a little bit more damage. I believe they're holding in lots of spells also.
There's the first fireball. I'm expecting to see a log or a rocket to finish that tower. Oh!
Actually, the last bit of poison, not the poison, the spear goblin actually does the damage. There comes the poison now onto multiple units that are making this push once again. But now the balloon's actually being forced all the way into the going into the tower with the rage spell dropping off.
Yeah, that's enough to take
but
out
this
that
push
tower.
is continuing though.
It's gonna get one. Yeah, one hit there. Plus the death bomb. That's still. Let's get damage onto that king tower.
Plus the death damage. Now here comes a lot more damage from the miner. Plus this spear goblins even connecting a little bit, doing a ton of damage. Actually gets about 2/5 out of the way.
Yeah, kind of interesting that op.ggsk decided to go for the other princess tower instead of the king tower. Like usually, at this point, a lot of players would go straight for the jugular. You know, they would go for that king tower. But it's going to work out for them here if that. Oh, it didn't get a bomb off. The perfect.
It was so close. It was attracted by another structure, I believe, maybe a Tesla. So balloon had to make all the way trip all the way into the middle, right there. Took a long way, even with the rage spell dropped on top.
Yeah, and there was a perfect zap just as the balloon was about to make its first attack. It got zapped. I believe it was a zap, which caused it to delay its attack just so it didn't get one off.
OGN Entus defending it very well. Now onto their own chip damage. Here comes the miner once again with the same combo.
Yeah, Inferno Dragon as well. This time he's going to take out that P.E.K.K.A quite quickly.
Tesla connecting so quickly. It's being dropped down. Balloon gets hit by the fireball, but that connects one.
Is it going to do any more damage here? Ooh, 713. That tower is almost out of this game.
And we're in overtime, so single more tower will be GG for either team. Seems like op.ggskeleton is looking for that right now with another golem pushing in, starting right now.
This could potentially be the final push of this game, but if somehow OGN Entus manage to defend this, they're going to have a massive push of their own.
Double Dark Prince, and there's a rage spell right onto.
There's another
great fireball.
Great fireball. Is that balloon going to get close enough? It is. It still needs a little bit more damage though. 248 hit points left, and now we can see they're going to push with the P.E.K.K.A, the miner. Oh, and a fireball finishes off the game. op.ggsk takes that win.
Great spell to end the game. The zap from OGN Entus, the final zap, stopping, delaying the balloon, actually doing the damage, and along with that, taking out the golem at the same time. Because did so much work at the final moment, but they already had a backup plan with the spells, the poison, and the fireball to finish off the game. What a crazy ending here. We almost had a trade at the end, but OGN Entus just not coming too close with the miner. It has been effective somewhat onto the left one, but once they were figured out, once they were not doing as much damage, they were kind of lost. We really changed the strategy from this moment on. But in terms of cycle, it seems like we are defending well enough, so let's just keep on going of what we had to do. And it just didn't work out at the end.
Yeah, once you've seen what your opponent is throwing out at you, you can wait for your cycle to start matching up, and your defensive cycle will be a lot stronger. That first push is so important because you have no idea what's going to be coming out at you. So if you can defend that first push, you're like, okay, this guy's going golem, we should be preparing, leaving our Inferno Dragon in the reserves, and put it down next time we see the golem.
Yeah, that's right. And they had the Tesla, but Tesla is a great way to make the golem path a lot longer than it should. But they also had the balloon. That was the biggest problem. Balloon takes out Tesla easily after one hit.
It takes out so many structures after one or two hits.
And bringing that rage spell, the spells actually make the critical plays in 2v2. We even see clones, freeze, even sometimes healing potion used.
Very rarely though.
Very rarely, but I've seen few healing spell used in 2v2, and I was very surprised. Elite Barbarian, I know you're not a big fan.
Never donate them.
4 Elite Barbarians, rage and healing on top of them. Oh man.
Well, that's just a recipe for disaster.
And I felt that experience with my own towers. Of course, I was paired up with a random one, but they're in competitive mode with the teamwork right now. Having lots of discussions, we go right into game number 2. So far, game number 1 for 2v2 went for op.ggskeleton. Can they continue their lead going into game number 2? We'll see as we head in right now.
right, so once again we have op.ggskeleton in red. That's Oichan and Chasu, and we have OGN Entus on the bottom in blue. Howl and Q-Mills. Now op.ggskeleton just need one more win here to take today's match.
Yep, that's right. As they took the first set, actually both teams brought the exact same deck. The feedback was that OGN Entus, I'm pretty sure they are feeling, oh, we were just maybe placing our card at the wrong timing. We could have won that game. That has to be the feedback if they are keeping the exact same deck.
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly good feedback because they did a pretty good job, to be honest, after the first or second push. But both teams here seem to be keeping the same decks. So both teams went, that last game was alright, let's not change anything.
There's a rage, but this time OGN having so much in defense. Not too many against the air though.
Is that balloon gonna go down? Those bats, it just doesn't manage to connect with the tower. But this is a really powerful push now for OGN.
And Pekka will be down, but the miner comes for some chip damage. Double the miner this time. That's going to be a change from OGN. Maybe they had double miners last time, but they were sending it in a different time.
Yeah, we just didn't get to see it last time. Last time we couldn't see the hands like we can now, and that helps so much. We can see exactly what is going on. We can see that the Tesla is going to come down for OGN Entus, and that is going to manage to pull the aggro of the golem, of the balloon, away from the tower long enough that they can take care of everything.
Pekka dropped a little bit too early just to make sure that they have a delay.
It also makes sure that they have enough elixir now to defend everything that comes out.
Pouring out everything, having the Tesla down to make sure the balloon does not connect. Seems like it will drop down one this time.
And it's going to take out so much with that death bomb. Takes out the minions, takes out practically everything. Only the Pekka walks out alive. But that tower there on the left-hand side for op.ggskeleton is looking kind of unhealthy. One more big push from either team here, and they can take out each other's towers.
And they need to defend this one first before they go into the offense.
Such a powerful push, and the balloon doesn't care about the Tesla.
Comes straight into the tower.
Takes out that bottom left-hand tower. Didn't care about the Tesla. Kind of a misplacement there. And now it's going to work on that King's Tower. But
2 shots onto that King Tower.
OGN Entus managed to drop in the double miner again with Log and Fireball. And now that top left-hand tower only has 68 HP left. That's going to go down quite quickly. One more Log, one more.
The miner will get taken out. They had it timed perfectly. They were already working on the other one.
Now it's interesting to see where they go. op.ggskeleton could go for the King's Tower quite easily now. And they deal so much damage, but they have to defend that right-hand side.
Oh, the Dark Prince actually goes to the left, goes towards the long way. This is a great push coming out for op.ggskeleton, straight into the tower now.
The death ball comes in, 407 hit points, but both those baby golems are going to deal enough damage. And that is it.
That is the end of match 1, guys. op.ggskeleton taking first set 1v1 and the second set 2v2.
Yeah, so Jin beating out Astro 2-1. We have the 2v2 game, Oichan and Chasu 2-0 over Howl and Q-Mills. op.ggskeleton are off to an excellent start today.
Some amazing plays with the balloon, the Dark Prince, the Golem. Having the Rage spell right on top. They know how to push in. They knew exactly after the first tower was destroyed how to delay the defense from the Dark Prince coming out from the other side. If that Dark Prince connected to the right instead, I think they have a lot better chances of placing the Tesla. It's really hard once you lose that because you have a lot less control, less space and room to work with the Tesla. If you place right onto the middle or the left to draw the balloon out, the Tesla will actually get taken out from the other units on the ground.
Yeah, so positioning that Tesla is, as you said, really, really difficult to do, but is Tesla the right option there? Should they have gone for something a bit, I don't know, a bit heavier? Spear Goblin Hood? I don't know.
Well, in terms of cycling, Tesla is always a great tool. Having that 4 mana, not the highest elixir, but does a lot of damage if that's left below. Always a good tool to draw out that balloon all the way.
They could have used another building instead of just the Tesla, so they could have used 2 and pulled it all the way across.
And we'll have the highlight of our first match. We only had 2 sets. OPGG taking both of them. Have a 2-0 for them.
Yeah, this is the 2v2 game here, and we saw like everything OPGG did just kind of went right, but they did lose that first tower really easily.
From this moment on, we thought for a second, oh, OGN Entus got it, but the push from OPGG, they have a push where if it's not stopped even once, they will push all the way in. It is not the same as what OGN is trying to do. OGN Entus has a push where you the chip damage, maximum of maybe 700, but you can't really look for the entire tower with just one push.
Yeah, but OPGG just tried the steamroller method and it worked really, really well. If any of that, the golem, the balloon, if any of that hits the tower, it's going to deal a lot of damage.
All the death, explosion damage from the golems, it's so much damage onto those towers also. Even having the Infernal Dragon, which never really connected, but always taking down the P.E.K.K.A. They had all the defensive tools and the offensive tools together. I was saying this on cast last night, saying always defense first, and then switch into the offense mode. But in this case, when you're having a maximum push, I guess it works out in a defensive way also.
Especially when your push can finish things a lot quicker than your opponent, they can't counter push. They have to defend, and forcing someone to defend when they have a kind of chip damage deck, it's just almost impossible for them to do. They're just not going to be able to hold it off.
The placement on that Tesla was a little bit far off. Balloon actually was closer to the tower than the Tesla was there. Not really changing its direction.
They did so much damage with those balloons and golems, like, and there was the finish. It was just so good.
Happy with their first ever result in the Clash Royale. We'll jump into the interview from OPGG. Wonder who it's going to be.
아시아 최강자를 가리는 클래시 로얄 프로의 세계 루다입니다.
And we actually have Luda from Cosmic Girls doing the interview for us.
대결 그 결과 OPGG가 값진 첫 승을 가져갔는데요.
OPGG taking the first win tonight.
멋진 대결을 펼쳐주신 OPGG 의찬 선수와 함께 인터뷰 나눠보도록
have an interview with
하겠습니다.
안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
Hello and congratulations on your first
소감 한
win.
말씀 부탁드릴게요.
And how does it feel?
일단 프로 게이머로서 데뷔를 해서 첫 승리를 거뒀는데
This is my first debut and the first win as a pro gamer.
잘 경기가 풀려서 너무나도 기분이 좋습니다.
And it feels really good right now to actually bring out our strategy and win against them.
카드를 선택하셨는데 혹시 그거에 대한 대응을 어떻게 하셨는지 궁금합니다.
일단 저희는 2대2 연습을 하면서
practiced a lot with the
저희가
2v2.
토네이도 밴을 하면 상대가 어떤 카드를 밴을 해도 할 수 있다라는 생각을
It didn't matter
가지면서
which card the
토네이도를
opponent banned,
밴을
as
했던
long
것
as
같습니다.
we had the tornado ban, we
2대2
knew we were going to
대결에서
win no matter what.
그리고
And that's
분노
what we
그리고
were having in
골린
the mindset
그
that's going
굉장히
into the
인상
game.
깊었는데요. 이 헤비 덱을 고른 이유가 있을까요?
Was there a reason why you chose the heavy golem push deck?
1대1에서 거의 쓰지 않는 분노 마법이라는 카드를 꺼냄으로써
We had the rage
상대방이
spell,
당할
which is
거라고
barely ever used in
이미 예상을
1v1.
했었고요. 그리고 분노의 골렘의 벌룬을 굉장히 막기가 힘들었을 거라고 생각을
And I
해서
think it's
저희가
really
그런
hard
작업을
to
짰던 것
defend
같습니다.
against
네, 아주 멋지게 승리를 하신 것
the balloon
같습니다.
golem
네,
and rage spell on top of that
게임에서
right
진
there.
TV 선수가 승리를 했어요. 석궁 대 석궁 플레이 어떻게 보셨는지
And how did
궁금합니다.
you think about
일단
the set
OPG
number 1
팀의
Expo versus Expo?
고병진이라는 이 팀원은 선수는 일단 저희들 사이에서는 고파고라고 불려요. 굉장히 기계적으로
And Jin
굉장히
TV
계산된
in
플레이를
our team
굉장히 잘하기
is
때문에 같은 미러전
called the
석궁전에서
AlphaGo in our
반드시
team.
이길 거라고
This is a
생각을 해서
robot play. He
3세트에
can calculate
석궁을 쓰라고
and
같이
predict
말했던
everything
것
that's
같아요.
going to happen.
역시 분석이
And
대단하신
we
것
basically
같습니다.
knew when he had the same
그리고
deck Expo
소리를
versus
지르는
Expo
모습을
that
굉장히
we were going to
인상적으로
win
봤는데요.
when it comes to the time.
팀의 맏형으로서 동료들과 함께 어떤지 궁금합니다.
How does it feel to actually be in the
제가
team
이
as the
팀의
oldest in the team and the captain?
팀장으로서 팀원들을 잘 이끌고 이 리그
As the
아시아
captain, I
리그
would like to lead
좋은 성적 거둘 수 있도록
the team
많이
and to
노력하도록
end up
하겠습니다.
with
감사합니다.
a great
감사합니다.
result at the end of the tournament to
네,
come
이렇게
out on
해서
top
OPGG가
after
첫
the Asian
승리를
region.
장식하며 강팀임을 인정. 자, 그럼 과연 다음 경기의 승자는 누가 될지 계속해서 기대해 보면서
Uchan
잠시
from
후에 만나요.
OPGG having some confidence actually. A lot of these players, of course, debuting as a pro team now. Professional team, professional players playing in Clash Royale.
Well, that is going to be the last game we see today for OPGG, but we will be seeing OGN Entus later on in match number 3 today. But he sounded like he's ready for this. He is super excited to be showing himself in this game.
And that was the interview. And next up, we have Sandbox versus Kingzone DragonX coming up very soon after the short commercial break. We will be back in a few minutes. welcome back to Clash Royale League Asia. We have match number 2 between Sandbox and KingZone DragonX. What a cool team name, KingZone DragonX.
It's like
with the X. That's like my old AIM.
That's going back about 100 years right there, like AIM. Jeez.
XXG Clef XX with the
Is that
capital
really?
X. No.
Oh man, I was so disappointed. I was so excited then to go and search through your AIM history and try and find you out. But yeah, Sandbox, KingZone, DragonX, new teams, but not new players actually. We've seen quite a few of these during the Crown Championship Global Series Korea, including the winner, Expo Master. He's
Expo
now
Master
on
is coming out, and we already saw some Expo play, and we always have to talk about this and bring this up. For those of you who does not know about Expo Master, his ID is actually Expo Master in Korean also. So it is Expo Master, but we will have the video on Sandbox before we go into that very soon. And as soon as I get the overview, we'll be going right in. We have live audience actually right next to us, the big stadium right next to us. We have our own room right here, but just across the hall we have the audience. We had tons of them actually this morning. It's very early too.
It's super packed in there right now. Like everyone is sitting like kind of next to the Korean casters, and they kind of look like sardines. There's so many people there today. And I for one was expecting a decent turnout, but it seems we have even more than expected.
And we have the video ready for the Sandbox. Let's go take a look at them.
저희 샌드박스는
독특하면서 약간 유쾌한 그런 분위기여서 항상 밝고 시끄럽고 뭐 좀 재밌는
그런 면에서 좀 더 자유롭다고 느꼈어요.
일단 저희의 최대 강점은 경험이고요.
크라운컵 코리아에서 8강에 들었었고 또 아시아 크라운컵도 8강 대통령배에서 3위를 했던 적이 있어요.
이번에 KG에서 우승했었습니다.
크라운컵 코리아에서 우승을 하고
대회 둘 다 올라가서 덜 떠는 놈이 이긴다. 근데 그 부분에서 좀 장점이 있는 것 같아요.
아시아 1위 하려고
아시아 1위는 해봐야 되지 않을까 하고
경기되는 팀이요? 저희 해외 팀들 좀 경기를 하고 있어요.
국내는 적수가 없다.
아 적수가 그래도 막 경기까지는 아닌 것 같아요. 그래도
대회 때 샌드박스 팀 만나게 되면 어떤 덱을 꺼내올지 예상 못 하실 거예요.
제가 딱 지금 2개 쓸 카드 공개할게요. 일단 복제랑 반사경 2개 나올 거예요. 이게 심리전이죠.
Right? Look at Sandbox, a big company, and hosting and taking in charge of management of lots of streamers and YouTubers actually. So they are creating the content, even having a Clash Royale team here.
Yeah, and we can see here we have Ito, Beaver, Kani, and Shinchu. Honestly, I'm looking at the sheet now, and their notable achievements are quite an eye-opener. We have Crown Cup Korea Round of 16, the Crown Championship Global Series Korea quarterfinals. We have President's Cup. We have basically every Clash Royale tournament we've had in Korea.
And Beaver was also the champion from Clash Royale Crown Cup Korea before the Global Championships, where Expo came on top.
Yeah,
so their lineup seems amazing right now.
There is so much experience and so much depth in this team. This has got to be one of the strongest teams, I think, in this tournament. Right?
Yeah, Sandbox, as you said, their roster indeed looks very scary, and they said they're all about the creativity, and they have thrown that out there. Well, clone card maybe in 2v2, but I don't think we're gonna see a clone card in 1v1. If they actually end up using a clone card in 1v1, I will stand up and clap.
I mean, clone is a really good card. Especially right at the end if you have like a giant skeleton and stuff like that. But in general, yeah, we don't see it much in this kind of level of play.
Even a balloon, but let's take a look at KingZone DragonX.
그냥 노바라는 이름 하나만으로 긴장을 하게 되는?
대적장이랑 노바 코리아 클랜에서 많이 이야기를 나누다 보니까 친해지게 됐어요.
노바에서 킹존 프로팀에 입단하게 됐는데 프로로서 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
다 10대로 이루어진 젊은 팀입니다. 저는 빼고.
마음이 더 잘 통하는 것도 있고 게임에서 더 유리하다고 생각해요.
같은 나이대니까 이제 말도 통하고 그냥 어느 정도 친해지면 넌 여기 이런 데가 잘못됐다 이런 식으로 솔직하게 또 말해줄 수도 있고 재밌고
줄라이를 부를 때 띵근이라고 하고
띵준, 머석장 이런 식으로
그냥 앞에 다 띵을 붙이는 것 같아요.
강동 감독님은 띵장이십니다.
애들이 쓰는 용어나 이런 거는 제가 잘 못 알아들을 때가 있지만 저희는 게임적으로 통하기 때문에 문제 없습니다.
일단 이번에 만날 샌드박스 팀만 이기면은 한국 팀은 다 잡을 수 있을 것 같고요.
샌드박스도 잘하지만 저희가 더 잘할 수 있다고 생각합니다.
우승을 목표로 열심히 하고 있습니다.
다른 팀보다 저희 팀이 더 연령대가 낮은데
10대 패기를 보여드리겠습니다.
기대하세요.
Kingzone DragonX. Every single time I see it, it sounds so cool. Back in my Yu-Gi-Oh days or something. Here comes great roster also.
Yeah, but
quite competitive against.
I do want to point out one thing. According to Big Daddy, who is one of the Kingzone X players, he has only been playing Clash Royale for 8 months.
8 months.
8 months and he's already on one of the biggest stages. That's just insane. Am I reading this correctly?
You are reading that correctly. Oftentimes, at least a year and a half, well, most of them 2 years of experience playing Clash Royale, but he is an exception, I would say.
This is an incredibly young team as well. Most of them are in high school. I'm looking here, student. I mean, it's kind of crazy, to be honest.
Ho is the only one, the oldest, born in 90, who's still not that old, I would say, but it seems like compared to his teammates who are still in high school, I guess you can kind of feel that age gap a little bit, but still a great member. Just holding down the team, I think there should be a good leader always in the team, other than the coach also.
And do you think Ho is going to be that strong leader in this team? I think he's going to be pretty good at it.
Yep, he's the captain. He is the captain of the team. They also have a coach, so I think he can hold the teammates pretty well, as you saw from the video. But we're jumping into 1v1, and this is a crazy matchup we're gonna have. We have Beaver from Sandbox for the first game of 1v1 here, as previously the Crown champion, a Crown Cup Korea champion.
And he also played the Clash Asia Crown Cup, and he was round of 16 then. That was, I think, last year or the year before. I'm not sure when that was. Favorite cards, they are super low elixir. He likes his cycle cards.
He loves cycle decks, and he was super good at defending. He was cycling so hard, defensive all the time, and lots of time just using the miner to have that 1v1. That's what he specialized at. Of course, ended up dropping down in the qualifiers of last year's Crown Cup Global Championship. And talking about Crown Cup Global Championship, we have the Expo Master, who actually became the champion of that tournament. So we have the previous champions standing up right now, doing 1v1 on 2018. This is an exciting matchup to start off.
Yeah, I mean, Expo Master in the last tournament was a complete unknown. He wasn't even relative unknown. He was a complete unknown. He was the youngest player. He had the lowest rank out of everyone. It seems he's boosted that up now.
Yeah, when everyone else had some things on their screen, Expo Master, previously he had nothing on his profile page. Just his age and few of his favorite cards, which was Expo, of course, but nothing else. No past history on this player at all. And oftentimes the question is, what do you ban against him?
Against Expo Master? Well, we saw last time that when you ban Expo against him, he just has 1,000 other tools he can throw at you. Like, we thought that last time his name Expo Master was kind of like a decoy. He wanted people to ban the Expo so he could do other things. And there we go, Expo ban. an Elixir Collector for Expo Master versus Ban. That's going to be interesting here. Like, Expo Master is really good at playing without his Expo. When he plays with it, it's amazing. But when he plays without it, he is still an incredibly strong player.
I think Beaver, just knowing his style, he likes to go for the fast cycling decks. And just in case he comes up with something else very heavy, maybe Expo Master won't be as ready, so banning that Elixir Collector maybe seems like the way to go, just taking out some variety of chances that he might be weak against. I think that's the line of thinking with the Elixir Collector against Beaver.
Yeah, it could also be banning it out, because if you ban out Elixir Collector, you kind of remove cards like Golem, you remove 3 Musketeers, you remove the super heavy kind of spell decks. So it'll be interesting to see, without the Elixir Collector, what you can kind of do with your decks. You're going to have to be playing a chip style, right? With both these bans, I think it's going to be a heavy chip style. But right now, we're unsure about what's going to happen.
Well, when he was in the tryout for Korea a few weeks ago, he were 2 wins, 1 tie, and 3 losses actually. Not the best result from the tryout, I would say. Was using 6 different decks. So, of course, Sandbox was looking for that creativity. And in terms of creativity, the variety of decks that he has used, of course, not with the best result, but he has shown lots of things in that tryout.
And that's a very important part of these kind of games, that you always need one player who has so many tools in his chest that he can lend you anything you need. So maybe one day you go, oh, I want a bomb tower deck. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I have one of those. Look, it wins like 80% of the time. That kind of player is super, super important to a team. One who can draft up these kind of weird and crazy decks that just help you to victory.
I've had a friend with Royal Giant going up 5,000, so which is not a deck that is the most common, but it could be a counter against some meta decks off the meta. Those kind of decks actually work, and you can climb super high if you're really good at those decks, and you end up meeting a lot of random ones. Of course, this is competitive. They have a lot of information about each other, but compared to that, Expo Master only used 4 decks, holding 4 wins, 1 tie, and 4 losses in the tryout.
Let me guess, you used a lot of Expo?
Only once, actually, out of the 9 games that he had.
Wow.
Well, maybe it was just fanned out. Didn't really get to. Of course, it was only used once, and oftentimes he was using. Most of the times he was using Hog Rider and Miner decks.
Oh, we could definitely see that now, since neither of those cards have been banned. Hog Rider decks are really, really stable, I would say. They're always going to be top tier kind of cards. Top tier decks. Hog Rider is just such a good card.
Hog Rider, along with the Tornado, the Log Ice Spirit, Executioner, and the Poison to finish off. That was a deck that Expo used 3 times in that tryout. Worked very well. Even the qualifiers in March 31st, he was the first, actually. He came out on the first qualifier used. Of course, with the Expo, he used it 9 times in that qualifier series, having 8 wins, 1 tie, 6 losses.
So I'm taking a look at the sheets we've got, the personality sheets. Beaver's most charming quality is his eyes.
Let's take a look. Can't quite see him. The camera's not really catching as he's looking down at the moment.
I mean, okay, Expo Masters is confidence. That kind of makes sense, right? He is a very confident person.
Yeah, we saw it from the team video, as we saw. But Beaver, if you go back to the real Beaver, their eyes are pretty cute.
Beavers?
The real beavers, like the animal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're kind of cute.
Well, I think we are finally ready to jump into our very first one between these 2 formal champions of Korea. Let's go right into game number 1 for match 2.
All right, so we have Beaver in blue on the bottom, Expo in red at the top. Instantly, Expo throws down that miner. Goblin Hut.
Seems like Expo Master brought his tryout deck once again with the miner and the poison spell starting off.
Yeah, the Hut is an interesting choice. We see Goblin Gang and Hut both coming down from Beaver and a balloon as well. And Miner, this is a pretty powerful push right now. That's going to get at least one hit.
Straight up connecting to the tower. Actually,
oh,
tornado
beautiful
perfect
tornado
timing
there.
Connecting into the Hut now.
Expo Master, that kind of looked pretty dangerous. He left that till the very last minute.
He had the Executioner. Now he can't really use that as a defensive tool.
I mean, he already used it as a defensive tool, so it's not a complete loss. The guard's coming down, taking care of that Dark Knight. You need pretty good positioning to be able to do that as well, because the Dark Knight does have that area of effect, and it can finish it almost instantly. There's a poison coming down. That's going to make quick work of any goblin that comes out.
The poison damage is chipping damage. That's what he's looking for, Expo Master is. Both holding poison. Poison spell has been just a super popular one, along with the tornado, even with the change on it.
The luck just missed the tower there for the last hit. But the miner again coming in, doing a bit more chip damage. Beaver, Expo sends his own miner down, but the hunter coming from Beaver there.
Yeah, Beaver is actually a player who likes to play the hunter card as a defensive tool most of the time, of course. Can you really push all the way in with the hunter alone? It's pretty tough.
Mean, he has no choice at this point. He kind of had to leave it. Goblin Hunt coming down again, and a poison from Expo Master. It's hard to tell who has the advantage here, but it does look like Beaver is kind of pushing. We need a tornado right now, Expo Master. Perfect timing again. Just before it was about to hit, takes it out.
So
takes out the balloon.
About even. Slight more favor to Expo Master as he has used that poison to actually attack onto the tower a few more times.
I would say Beaver has a slight advantage right now, but the miner from Expo Master does swing it back into his favor.
But in terms of playmaking and how that's affecting the tower, Expo Master is actually doing the damage straight to the tower when you were not really connecting. Now it's the time for him to actually do the damage with the poison spell.
Good miner, but the miner coming down from Expo Master onto that bottom left-hand tower, 850 hit points. It's pretty neck and neck right now, but Expo Master does look like he could take this. More so than Beaver.
Keeping the same hut position, just in case the balloon comes down onto the other side. He's still holding onto that tornado, so that balloon play is basically locked on unless Beaver has some major elixir lead. I don't think it can actually connect to the tower, so not really dropping either one of them from either side.
Yeah, but now the balloon comes down just after the hut, to be honest. Dark Prince hits that tower as well. This is so much damage. The miner as well needs to use that tornado, but it still might get one hit. Executioner is trying to do his best. 275, is it in range? Yes, it is. Beaver takes game 1. The bomb there from that balloon dropping just in range of the tower.
He was waiting for that hut to be taken out so that the tornado will not let the balloon connect to the hut anymore. Even after the tornado with the Executioner, the tower was so low from all the poison damage and some chip damage from the miner before. Explosion was enough to take that tower down, and that they were in overtime, so one tower down is GG. Beaver takes game number 1.
Yeah, it was so close as well. It was just on the edge of range of that bomb. I mean, I would say like maybe 2 pixels further towards his own side, and that bomb would not have connected.
It's just a single pixel. I think it was very close.
It was incredibly
very
close.
Maybe just a pixel to the left. Could have been.
Could have
missed actually. And even Beaver, he was quite happy after that connected to the tower. It was very close. Of course, that's all in the nerf if Tornado was back to 2.5 seconds. it was not going to land because it was going to be pulled even more, but less of a time to actually pull the units now. The damage is about the same overall, but
the pulling time is a bit less. So if it have had that slightly longer pull, yeah, as you said, that would have stopped it. Maybe Expo Master could have countered, but I think at that point, even without the death bomb damage from the balloon, I still think Beaver had enough to finish that tower off.
Maybe that could have been just enough, because he also had another poison spell coming in very soon. Over time, I think he should have been winning, but that's going to be first game going to Beaver. When Expo is banned out, Expo Master loses his strength a little bit, and he has been coming out with something else tonight. So far not working. As we go into game 2 very soon, seems like both players are ready to jump in. They got their minute to revise their deck. They have to jump into game 2 now. It'll be very soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think Expo Master should be able to take it back, but can Beaver keep up this winning streak into game number 2? Let's find out when we eventually get in.
And we're in, Simon.
Finally.
Game 2 of these two.
And again, Expo Master dropping that Goblin Hut. A Bandit down for Beaver. Kind of interesting. Guards and Miner again.
Oh, activated King Tower, though. Expo was baiting that from happening.
He was prepared. And what that does now is it activates the King Tower, which increases the defenses, basically.
Big time.
For Expo Master. It's going to be really, really hard to push. You can see Beaver shaking his head at that.
And it's also so much easier to predict where the Miner is going to be because it can't be too close to the King Tower anymore. It's got to be on the outer side.
Yeah. If it's on the outer side, it'll just pull into the side of the tower a little bit. But the Goblin Hut did its job. It managed to pull that Miner and activate that King's Tower, giving Expo Master a bit of a defensive edge here.
Lots of Miner use coming out from both sides, as they would like to, instead of a big one, because the Elixir Collector is also banned, they like to do some chip damage. This is more of a meta from Korea. I wouldn't say only, but a big meta in Korea where we do chip damage over time, and lots of poison spells because of that.
Yeah, lots of chip damage here in Korea. It's always been a bit of a Korean meta when it comes to the game. Like we see in other regions, there's a lot of heavy pushes, but in Korea, it's all about Miner, poison, maybe even graveyard. Just slowly taking those towers down. We saw so many games last year with poison, graveyard, Miner, and then maybe a bandit.
A little less graveyard because the poison spell is actually a lot more popular. Can just straight up counter and win the elixir trade in that way, 4 to 5. And if it happens over and over, you will be winning in that elixir duel over time.
But then you're used, like last year we saw a lot of offensive poisons like this, and then you won't be able to use it
Tower
against.
quite away, looking into the future defense.
It is going to easily take out that Ice Wizard, though. The Goblin Hut is getting low too. This is kind of a scary push here for Beaver, but I don't know if it's going to manage to connect at all.
Expo already has done quite a lot of damage. Bandit's connecting into the Miner, but a little too slow, especially the last time it connected. Bandit also got the change a long time ago. It used to be just charge from range 4. Now it's 3.5, between 3.5 to 4.
And the Miner is uncontested down there on that tower. Just another 300-400 damage. Expo Master has such a strong lead here.
A little bit of a slow response coming from Beaver in this game, as he had, because we can watch, of course, at all the elixirs. He had enough elixirs. He had the card on his hand. It was the next card coming out. Debatable response oftentimes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes being under the studio lights can make you play slightly differently than what you're used to. And maybe that's what's happening in this time, but the first game he looked unstoppable. This game, not quite so strong, but this push is kind of scary. It's down to 700.
Even the Bandit actually did some damage to the tower straight up. The guards defending it pretty well.
The Miner again connects to the tower. This is getting too close. 2, and it's gone. Expo Master takes game number 2 with that Poison Miner kind of chip damage deck. The whole game there, he was just chipping away and away and away, and eventually this war of attrition does come out with a winner.
Well, when you try to chip away the damage, but you have to remember at the beginning, the King Tower was activated. That was working in favor of Expo Master greatly, and when that happened, Diva basically knew, oh, this is going to be a very, very hard game. I just lost my chances of winning down to maybe from 50% down to 10% just by having that move.
Yeah, it's just too strong. Nothing you can do. The chip, I don't know, like, it's not my favorite style to play, but to watch, chip is a lot more strategical, I feel like. You have to make sure that you're constantly chipping away at the tower, and anything you throw in defense should survive and push forward. Because if it doesn't, you're kind of not doing enough damage.
It was all about elixir counting and the cycling that had. I think they both had great cycling. When Weaver was using Miner and Poison separately, Poison oftentimes coming in as defense, Expo Master was using both at the same time as an offensive tool, because Weaver maybe thought Tesla was enough for the defense, but ended up wasting the one that he placed right in the middle. Never really placed the second one once he knew that there was no big push, giant push coming in from the other side. No real threat of putting that Tesla down.
Yeah, I think the Tesla should have been a bit further back, closer to the tower to help defend. But you cannot stop the Miner with the Tesla tower, right? It's always going to hit the tower.
Yep, you can make it connect to the Tesla, but Tesla will die over time. So Expo Master could have just waited. So Weaver was lost in lots of options, when Expo Master, in contrast, had lots of ways to take him down. And I think the minute is up to revise for the final game between these two. 1-1 right now, tied up. But this is best of 3. The final one, game 3, starting right now.
Okay, so Beaver in the blue at the bottom, Expo Master in red at the top. Tombstone. We didn't see one of those in the last 2 games, right? It was mainly Goblin Huts.
Here we go, Lava Hound and the Giant on the other side. This is going to be, let's see how they want to trade this one out, as Expo is just holding that on.
Yeah, the Dark Prince here is going to do some work, but that Giant connects to the tower. 1 hit, 2 hit. He's getting free reign here. Dark Prince 2 connects to the tower. Mega Minion as well. Is that going to take the tower down at this point? So much damage.
4 right there. Well, Beaver, the moment he saw the Lava Hound, okay, let's make the Giant push onto the other side, because Lava Hound by itself doesn't do too much damage. It's very slow. Here comes a balloon. Does he have any structure? There's a lightning spell.
The lightning doing so much damage. Just not enough there for Expo Master. 1,227. Expo Master looks like he's in a very, very tough spot here. Does he have an answer to the Archer? No.
He will just sacrifice. He knew that was going to be going down anyhow. The lightning spell, also a few zaps will just take it out, or any kind of push from the other side was going to take out. So Expo Master wanted to focus on his own push. Let's see if it works better this time.
So again, Lava Hound, Tombstone there to bring in the Giant over there. Is he going to support this Lava Hound as it goes in? Drops his own Mega Minion to start tackling that Giant. But there's also a lot of skeletons there. Magic Archer again gets fireballed. We don't want that around.
And great placement of the Archer, so that fireball actually does less damage to the other tower instead.
Don't want it to keep building up onto this 856 hit point tower, because every bit of damage now brings Expo Master closer and closer.
But once you have one down, here comes the Lumberjack along with the Giant.
Giant's going to drop first though, so that Rage Potion from the Lumberjack isn't going to get as much. Does get the Dark Prince 1 hit. Mega Minion goes down, but the Larva Hound is doing so much work on this right-hand tower.
But Beaver already has one down, so all he needs to do is make a better of a trade.
I think it's gone. It's dead. Now the question is, where does Expo Master go from here? Does he go down the left? He is. Balloon dropped on the left with Minion Horde support. The Lightning doesn't quite manage. He's going to get one bomb at least. One bomb plus the death bomb. That's a lot of damage.
Does connect. He was just thinking maybe the lightning spell is enough, but only onto the minions and the balloon there.
Giant drops first. What you need is that Lumberjack to drop first to drop the rage push.
Double the Lumberjack with the rage. Lumberjack actually does so much damage when he's in range.
Oh
man, look at those melee attacks.
Again, there's the balloon. Skeleton's the giant and the Dark Prince.
But this balloon is going straight to the tower. Mega Minion is not enough. There's one.
It's DragonX first. Oh, it's so close. Ah, Expo Master takes game number 3.
Even at that from Expo Master, having that confidence, Beaver feels it, says, that was a good game. That was a good game. I had the lead, but ended up throwing at the end. He was trying to use an advantage where he can place his units right next to the second Prince's tower. He was trying to go for that Lumberjack strategy along with the Giant, but got taken so easily from all the air. If you have Giant and the Lumberjack, you are, of course, you're doing a lot of tank, but you're going in, but you can't do any damage against the air. And once you use that lightning spell as a defensive tool onto the balloon, what else do you really have?
He had the Magic Archer, which could have been pretty good.
It's okay, it does some damage, but it's not the most damaging tool, I would say. A lot less than the other ones. They can't really stop the push from happening also. Expo Master also not giving up after what we thought was an ended game.
Yeah, after game number 1, he looked really weak, I would say. He got manhandled by Beaver in this first game. I was kind of worried that maybe the last tournament was a bit of a fluke, but he pulls it back in game 2 and 3 and shows just what he is made of.
We're going to take a look at the highlight of our first set, match number 2.
The defense against that balloon was so good up until that last point there where that death bomb just catches the tower. Even Expo Master seemed like, why wasn't it 1 pixel back?
Thumbs up, and he was able to come back into the set here. Get all the tools. This 20 seconds into the game, you activate that King Tower. How do you feel?
You feel as though someone just pulled the rug from under your feet. Like, you're in so much trouble once that any offensive push you have has to be twice as strong to deal half as much damage.
See, look at that King Tower just defending so well, along with all the guards right next to them. I think it was going to be close, or even Beaver actually winning this game if that tower was not activated.
Yeah, that King Tower does help take out all those miners quicker as well. Now this push here, the Giant, the Dark Prince, the Mega Minion, it was just so strong. It took that tower down so quickly.
And look at that, Expo Master.
No overreaction, actually, just leaving it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna lose that tower, just let the Magic Archer do
I will
its job.
save it and continue my strategy. This was the push from Beaver. Actually, see, look at that Mega Minions actually taking a good handle of all those units.
A good zap as well to stun that Dark Prince just before he goes to hit the tower.
Joel's got you there, right? I know you're a big fan, but here, that was a lightning spell base. That's a defensive tool, not the best tool to go against the balloon. He doesn't really have anything else, I bet. He didn't have the Magic Archer at the time in his hand, maybe.
Even if he did, I mean, would the Magic Archer have stopped that first bomb? I'm not so sure. I think it still would have connected, and then the Death Bomb still would have taken out that tower.
What a great game between these two former champions of Korea from 2017. And will be a win for Kingzone DragonX, the first set.
So if Kingzone DragonX can do it in this 2v2 game that's coming up, Kingzone X will go through.
Okay, but we have to wait. Here's Kanye from Sandbox We already saw some creativity from V for having that lumberjack. I wasn't really expecting that card to come out all of a sudden. Did not end up winning, but still some unexpected cards can make some crazy results happen. Right
Mortar
here.
player. Mortar is pretty interesting as a card in this kind of 2v2 because it can be really good if it has good support.
Sakani, along with Ido here, who played in the round of 16 last year, as you probably remember. Ido Sotedo, that was his full ID back then. Cut it down to Ido. I think that's simple.
Yeah, I think we just called. I think we just called him Ido the whole time anyway. But yeah, he does like these slow, heavy build-up decks. The Elixir Collectors, the Three Musketeers, Goblin was another one. Not Goblin. Golem was another one of his favorite cards. He plays very, very slow. So I'm interested to see how he can adapt to the 2v2 meta because 2v2 in general is much faster paced.
I think it depends on the ban card that we are about to see, of course, after the introduction of Kingzone players. But oftentimes it has been the Tornado. Lots of princes coming out, lots of golems, and even the balloon. It really depends right now. Dark Prince making so much appearances, but here we go. Kingzone DragonX. Ho.
4,900 trophies, I guess, at his rank. Favorite cards, Fireball? That's okay, I guess. Log, good choice. And Ice Golem. Ice Golem is such a popular card in Korea. Like, people love it regardless of what it does. I think it's just that happy smiley face.
It's his first offline event, first tournament ever. He's been known as a great player. Also, a big fan of Connie. Oh, a good friend of Connie, excuse me there.
2 players, 2 different teams. Do you expect some emotes throwing out from each player?
Oh, maybe, but he actually lives in Ulsan, super far away from Seoul.
That's
and
like a 4-hour
He goes
journey.
back and forth every single day.
Oh. Well, here's Big Daddy. Favorite cards with 3 Musketeers, Cannon card, and I missed the other one. Too busy thinking about that journey from Ulsan to Seoul is about 4
and your
hours.
favorite Mortal. Mortal card, just doing straight damage to the tower. His favorite Cannon card, 3 Musketeers. And I think that's his favorite. And he was actually the 3rd of the preliminaries back in April 1st. Tryouts having a result of 4 wins and 7 losses. So
yeah, this is the guy who also has only played Clash Royale for 8 months. Big Daddy. That's crazy.
I've played more than him, and why? Is there a reason? I don't. Am I the?
You're just bad at the game, man. What can I say?
Don't say that, Simon. It feels bad.
All right, the ban cards are out. Sandbox banning out the Miner, and Kingzone DragonX banning out P.E.K.K.A.
Finally, we have a game in Clash Royale League Asia with a Tornado card. Finally, for the first time.
I guess that's what they're all discussing, like how many tornadoes can we actually manage to fit into these decks? I mean, maximum obviously 2, but I assume they'd want to add in 3 or 4 if they could, you know?
And you also have to think, what are some other good counter cards against that Miner and also against that P.E.K.K.A. With the Miner ban, this basically guarantees that both teams has to really go in for that gigantic push, some heavy pushes coming in.
Not necessarily. I think both could try these super light, like Goblin style decks. Maybe Hog Rider. Can't deny Hog Rider is going to be super powerful in this match.
Hog Rider and double that Hog Rider. And hey, we can't ever forget about the Elite Barbarians. They're coming.
Please, no, forget the Elite Barbarians. They do not exist in this game. Those things give me nightmares. I refuse to donate them. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, in my guild, I don't care if you're my teammate, I'm not giving you Elite Barbarians.
Oh, that's why I'm not in your clan. Sorry, Simon.
We hate each other in real life.
I do use Elite Barbarian on my 2v2 sometimes, and it works. It works perfectly. Especially when you have that on your starting hand, when you're opponent is off guard when they're maybe on their cell phone. When they start the game, they say, I have 2 more seconds. You tap onto everything, so you can actually put down your cards faster by 0.2 seconds compared to the other ones.
I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth when you said that, because it's happened to me so many times.
That's the best strategy.
Back when I started, I didn't know you could skip that animation. I just waited and I was like, oh my god, why is this guy's loading time so faster than mine? He just dropped everything down.
He's got that KT internet. Let's see, 2v2. They are ready after the ban. They got their 3 minutes to make their own deck. They got some help discussion through their teammates. But the first game of 2v2 is ready between Sandbox and Kingzone DragonX.
All right, so we have Sandbox, Kani, and Ito in blue at the bottom, and we have Kingzone, DragonX, Ho, and Big Daddy in red at the top.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. All right, so
Balloon
we can see
use.
guards from both sides.
Hey, you talked about it. Double that tornado. You see that on top already.
It's going to be so strong, it's just going to tornado the towers for no reason. Can't pull the princess off the tower, unfortunately. Lava Hound coming down. We're going to see Lava Loon from Sandbox, and we can see what looks to be incredibly spell-heavy decks from Kingzone DragonX.
Double tornado, double rocket. So they want to take everything down. If there's 1,000 damage on the left.
There's Dark Prince. There's the double tornadoes. Maybe they should have tried to chain them a little bit better than that. Putting them both down at the same time. Lava Hound connects. There's so much damage behind this. Giant Skeleton and the Balloon and the Prince. This is going to deal so much damage if it connects. If that Skeleton gets super close, the Balloon turns around, but it doesn't matter. That Giant Skeleton is going to deal so much damage.
It's going to take the tower down.
That should be enough. Yeah, it is. That was an insanely strong push.
Really using it well. Even had to use the Tesla to drop down the Balloon, but Balloon was not the only problem. Giant Skeleton was coming in slowly but steady. They had the Dark Prince to actually clear all the lane just so that Dark Skeleton would just straight up walk into it.
Yeah, you have to pull that skeleton off the towers, because if it connects, it's going to deal so much damage. Its Death Bomb is over 900 damage on its own.
Once again, Sandbox can do exactly the same. And Rocket not even connecting into the Lava Hound. I'm guessing they were expecting something else to come out. Last time they ended up using double the tornado, maybe saving it for the later phase.
I think that was a mistake. Like, in 2v2, you kind of want to chain your tornadoes to keep everything back forever. And it seems like Kingzone are holding that second tornado mainly for the Giant Skeleton now. You're going to need it to pull him away from the tower. There's the rocket that comes in. There's the Giant Skeleton.
But they don't have too much time. They only have 20 seconds. They
Double
need to
rocket.
cycle this one out, but right after that, they are in trouble. The Balloon is coming. The Giant Skeleton is coming once again. There's that tornado.
But they don't have anything to clean it up. There's the second tornado, but there's still nothing there.
Balloon will get taken out. Explosion damage will not be the same, but rockets are not enough to clean the tower out from the bottom, and that's going to be game number 1. Gigantic push.
Yeah.
Heavy push coming out from Sandbox there.
Ito's style, isn't it? Ito's style is these big, super heavy, strong pushes. And he's shown it again. He's just super good at it.
I don't know how they managed to do it. That was an insane push. And we saw that those tornadoes working super well right before the game ended. But once they had both spells down, before they came in, that was a big mistake costed. I think the communication was a little bit off. That's like when you play with a random person, you end up using spell after spell on top of the same thing. Yeah. You end up wasting at least one of them.
But these two guys are standing next to each other. That kind of communication issue shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And that's exactly why we have competitive 2v2 here. We need that communication. We need that teamwork. Make sure you have calls. Make sure you call out me first, I'll go first, or I will drop down tornado first. Or,
yeah.
or just number yourself. 1, 2. Tornado 1, then it's on you. Tornado 2, it's on me. That's how you should always communicate between each other.
But then you're going to need a shot caller in the middle of this game, and like the problem with Clash Royale 2v2 is it is so busy. And having one shot caller in that, you're going to reduce reaction times a little bit. So I just feel like they just need to talk to each other. Oh, I'm going to use my tornado. Oh, I'm using my tornado. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just say something slightly before the big spells. Not every spell, not every unit. Those big ones like tornadoes, they should just call like, I'll go first. You first. Me first.
Kingdom, they were depending too much on those spells. And when you're depending on the spell and also making mistakes, and it costed them a lot. Rocket not really hitting the target, along with the tower. Best use, you hit the tower no matter what, and hit something very heavy coming down all the way from the back. Lava Hound was not even contested. Dark Knight never contested really with the rocket. Only landed twice. Got down to 1,000, but they were late. They didn't really have the time to finish it up.
No, they went too spell heavy. I feel like double rocket is a bit too much.
Double rocket only does about 860 onto the tower. So even after 2, they needed a lot more damage. They had over 1,000 left on that tower.
Yeah, you have to use it, what, 3 times? If my math is correct, which it probably isn't, you need to use double rockets 3 times to be able to take down a tower in 2v2.
I think it'll be very close.
And a little bit of wind.
Let's do 432 times 8. What is that?
You're the one who tells me before a cast, do not do math 30, on stream.
Okay.
You're sitting here trying to work it out.
Hey, I majored in math, but turns out I'm not really good at it. Well, here we go. We are ready to jump into game 2 first one. Went to Sandbox. Can Kingzone DragonX bounce back in onto this 2v2? Last time their tornado rocket did not succeed. Let's go into game 2.
Alright, so once again, Sandbox in blue, Kingzone DragonX in red. We're going to see something similar now? No, we already see Lumberjack and a Golem. Ooh. With the Dark Prince behind, that's going to push the Golem up much quicker than what he would normally go at.
Lumberjack waiting for its moment. There we go. You want to have
strong
Lumberjack in the front, make sure it takes damage, but then the Rage spell drops right after.
Double Dark Prince, Golem up front. That is so much damage going down right there. But the Golem isn't going to do that much damage to the tower. Inferno Dragon for the defense against that Lava Hound. If that connects with the Mega Minion first and not the Giant Skeleton.
Giant Skeleton also a great way of defending. Because once you have the skeleton down, it also soaks a lot of damage. Plus the explosion damage is huge on
double Mega Minion now to take out that balloon before he gets anywhere near the tower. But just in range again. Sandbox have been quite good at getting just in range, I think.
Those explosion damage, death damage has been so important in a lot of these games. Single range can change everything. Here's another Golem coming in.
Golem again. As you can see, the ridiculous APM from all these players who just keep tapping their cards, keeping their fingers nice and nimble. Would be a good,
nice and warm.
Nice and warm, yeah.
Just to.
So Lava Hound again, double Prince behind the
Golem.
Golem.
This time it was a double Prince. Last time it was only the Dark Prince, I believe. Last time.
I think last time it was double Dark Prince.
It was a different one for sure, and that's the thing. The explosion damage comes in to both of units. Golem actually makes it into the tower this time.
Yeah, but the Lava Hound has done a lot of work on the right-hand side. Not as much work as those Golems did, though. Got that tower down to 753 hit points against 1,542 hit points of Kingzone.
Better of a trade, and also Kingzone holding in the rocket. See that on the hand, in the hand since the beginning. He's waiting for the perfect time to finish off that tower.
We still haven't seen the flying machine come down from Kingzone X. We've seen every other card come down from Sandbox, I think. There goes the balloon. Not in range at all, but it is going to take a lot of damage from that Mega Minion. And there goes the tower. Golems take out that bottom right-hand tower, and there's just not enough push from Sandbox this time.
And the flying machine. Great way of defending. Only 9 seconds left. I think that is just GG. And Kingzone would come back with the Lumberjack with the golden. Great double Prince push, and the rocket actually used as a defensive tool to take out that balloon right there. Great way of defending on your own tower.
Yeah, double Prince never seems to work for me when I try to play it, but whenever I see anyone else do it, it's so powerful. And this time, one of the big changes this time for Sandbox was that they used that giant skeleton only on the defense. And that didn't seem to work out that well for them. They never seemed to be able to hold everything off.
They had the lava hound and the balloon. That was their key part. Their ground units, it's really hard to push all the way in because of the golem and the double prince coming in most of the time. But once you have that giant skeleton down, golem will survive through that explosion damage. Connects into the tower, then a lot of explosion damage onto the tower. It just connected so well along with the push.
Yeah, and do you think, sorry, I need to keep reading it because all I can see on the screen is X Dragon. Kingzone X Dragon, do you think they're going to keep the same deck, or do you think they're going to swap this time?
We'll see, it's the final one. If they end up winning this one again, it'll be a 2-0, and they end the match too, actually. Send back one of the stronger teams, a lot of expectations from the Korean audience for them to actually win the entire Clash Royale League Asia.
Well, they have so much experience compared to everyone else. Like, as I said earlier, you look at what they've won and what they've achieved in Clash Royale, and every one of them is either a winner or someone who progressed so far into a tournament that they could have been the winner. It's insane.
There's the music. That's the cue for the final game of 2v2 here between Sandbox and Kingzone. If Kingzone brings this game 3, they will close out the match. It is match point for them. Sandbox, they need to win this one to go into the ace match right after. Let's go into game 3 and see what happens in the arena. See some different cards from Sandbox. And similar deck from Kingzone, but some difference. Skeleton Barrel and Electro Wizard actually for the defense.
Yeah, Golem coming down from Sandbox. I'm guessing they're playing a similar deck that Kingzone played last time, maybe?
They also have a Lumberjack Magic Archer even as a defense. Freezing Freeze spell will be the big one once that Prince goes close enough to those towers.
Yeah, freezing the tower cannot be understated. If you freeze towers and minions, it is free damage, but
that fireball was best fireball.
I was just about to say that push looks so strong. And then just one fireball wiped it all out. I mean, that was perfectly placed, perfectly timed there by Kingzone.
It hit every single thing. Perfect placement of that fireball and the timing.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking good for Kingzone to take it 2-1 again.
Well, so far, one great push can end any. Could go for either side here as Dark Prince charges in once again.
Golem behind. What are they going to put behind that Golem, do you think?
Let's see what this brings. Dark Prince just kind of wasted right there. Not really landing up behind the Golem.
There is so much there this time. It's getting so cramped. It's really hard to see. There's a fireball. But that balloon is getting so close.
Electro Wizard comes down, but lands one. And
it's going to be 2. Oh, just not 2, but that's so close to going down. 509 turns everything around there.
So it's going to be about the same after. About 107 difference between the two, but in terms of Elixir, right now Sandbox has got it. waiting for the perfect chance to make some changes here.
There's the Golem again. This Golem is basically their only push. It is their win condition here. But the Magic Archer is actually going to deal so much damage to that tower as well. Oh, the angle almost lined up perfectly there to finish it.
Shoots through the units. And going with the balloon, they are both thinking that this is basically a goner. And they're working already onto the other one.
Kingzone take the first tower, but Sandbox are going to take that other tower as well. But the balloon for Sandbox connects so many times there onto the King's Tower. That King's Tower is super heavily damaged at this point.
Let's see how Kingzone DragonX wants to work on this one. If they want to push on to the other one with the Princess Tower or directly to the King. They have both ways. It's about the same 22 to 2800.
Yeah, they're going to choose to go down that left-hand side.
Ooh, Magic Archer actually not connecting with any of the units from the other side. This would be a gigantic push from Kingzone coming
Magic
straight down.
Archer decided to go on a small vacation there. Beautiful freeze. Holding everything in place, but
it will only delay the timing of as the death damage connects to the tower. Even the Golem right now.
360. It's going down. There's the fireball. And Kingzone take it 2-1. Hoa Big Daddy losing game 1, but coming back in game 2 and 3, and they look incredibly strong.
2-0 and the 2-0. That will finish the entire match, finish the series between Sandbox and Kingzone. Who Sandbox was supposed to be the big favorite coming into Royale League Asia, the Korean region, dropping their first ever match against Kingzone DragonX. They seem very on top. Expo Master able to come back after 1-0. Ho and Big Daddy also able to come back after 1-0.
Yeah,
a great team just following up.
Yeah, experience seems to mean nothing at this point. Like the relatively new to the scene players in Kingzone DragonX just showed what they are made of. They're all super young and just wow. They played really, really well.
One single mistake of that Magic Archer, just straight up walking towards the other lane, not really catching with the other units. Of course, if you time it well enough, it will. The range is super long, but it was placed way too early before the units came down to the bridge.
Yeah, working out angles on the Magic Archer actually super helped, as we saw earlier when the tower went down. Later on in game 3, it just deals so much damage through everything.
Highlight. Of course, as we have the balloons, this will be the first one and the second game.
Yeah, this time, as we can see, that giant skeleton being used for defense, and no matter how much damage that death bomb does, Kingzone's still connected to the tower, and every little bit of damage they were doing was just helping them out. They kind of chipped damage with a golem, which is unusual, but it worked.
Down to 700, but the Tesla gets taken out super easily along with that. Along the rage from the lumberjack
there to take out the balloon as well. While the Mega Minion cleans up the lava balloon, they take the tower. There's 20 seconds left. What can you do in 20 seconds? 14.
Elite Barbarian.
Don't say that to me. Every time you say it, I get a headache. All right. So this time, Sandbox here, we can see Sandbox looks so good, but that was it. Rocket, I think, just does so much damage to that whole push. Kingzone turned it around. And here they just kept
This
pushing.
was a big one. Balloon not connecting twice. Electro Wizard stuns the unit. And against the balloon, against the big units, against Sparky especially, it stops them from attacking even.
Yeah, and here we saw the balloon. They trade these two towers because, I mean, you can't really defend a 69 HP tower. Any fireball zap will kill it. But the balloon connecting onto that King's Tower, it kind of did, as you said, opened up both avenues for attack, and they decided to go down to the left and just won.
And we skipped the moment where Magic Archer just missed onto the targeting of the left units. And that was a final mistake. Even with that Magic Archer, I think they could have defended, but they were going to be very low. Maybe a few more spells would have just ended the game regardless.
Yeah, so Kingzone did have a lot of spells in that deck. They had Rocket, fireball. I couldn't see them coming back in.
오늘의 두 번째 매치는 샌드박스와 킹존의 멋진 한판 승부였는데요. 그 결과 킹존이 첫 승을 가져갔습니다. 오늘의 승리를 이끌어주신 킹존의 대형 석궁 장인 선수와 인터뷰 한번 나눠볼게요. 안녕하세요.
We'll have an interview with the Expo Master, the winner of the 1v1
오늘
tonight.
샌드박스와의 첫 대결 승리하셨어요. 소감 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
Of course, how do you feel after your first win
준비한
tonight?
만큼 결과가 나와서 기분 좋고 이 기세를 몰아서 다음
We were
경기도
expecting
꼭
this
이기고
result.
싶습니다.
Of course, feels
첫
good.
경기 전에
And
하품을
with this momentum, we
하시던데
want to continue this.
어젯밤에 굉장히 열심히
this
준비를
on
하신
to the
건지
later
아니면은
matches.
이번 경기는 그냥 이길 것 같아서 여유롭게 임하신 건지 궁금합니다.
You seemed very confident going in, even without the
둘 다
Expo.
반반이긴 한데 전자에 조금 더 가까울 것 같습니다.
I
대회
think I
경력이
did have the
많으시던데
confidence also,
프로로서의
but
첫 무대
also
어떠셨나요?
without the Expo, I'm pretty okay.
오늘 경기는 별로 떨리진 않았는데
How was your
1경기
match as a pro
조금
team now?
기분이 좀 안 좋아요.
비버 선수를
After
경계
after
선수로
dropping the first game,
지목하셨어요. 그 이유가
I
있을까요?
was not really feeling the best.
일단 이
Still okay
프로리그
after
한국에서
debuting as a pro
가장
player now.
잘하는 선수 중 한 명이라고 생각하고
What do you think of Beaver?
그리고
I think he's one of the best in Korea.
저를 이기셨기 때문에 경계 선수를 뽑았습니다.
오,
And also,
제일
he
잘하시는
defeated me
선수라고
previously
뽑으신 선수를 오늘
other games,
이기셨어요.
so
기분이
I've
굉장히
actually picked him as a
좋으시겠어요.
player to actually
그
watch out a little
기분을
bit
10대 만에 표현한 느낌으로 세레모니 한번 보여주세요.
and show us some ceremony after winning tonight. This afternoon.
네, 10대만큼 정말 상큼발랄한 세레모니였습니다. 네, 그리고 정말 궁금한 점이 있었는데요. 밴 카드로 대형 석궁을 밴당하셨을 때 혹시 기분이 어떠셨나요?
Of course, your expo was banned out by
저는
Beaver.
항상 연습할 때 대형 석궁이 밴된다는 가정을 하기 때문에
I always
딱히 신경 쓰이진
practice
않았어요.
thinking that expo will be
역시
banned
프로이신 것
against me.
같습니다.
So I'm not
앞으로의
really too
각오 한
much
말씀
concerned about it.
부탁드립니다.
Well, that's why you're the
오늘
pro.
이겨서 기분
Of course,
좋고
let's hear a little bit more
다음
about what you have to
주
say.
하고 다다음 주도 꼭 이기고
Feels
싶습니다.
great to win tonight, and we want to continue
네,
winning
함께
for the
인터뷰해주신 대형 석궁 장인님 정말
for next week's
감사합니다.
matches.
네, 이렇게 해서 첫 승을 가져간 킹존 진심으로 축하드리고요. 더 열심히 해서 더 멋진 모습 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 저는 잠시 후에 돌아올게요. 감사합니다.
That was it. An interview with Expo Master from Kingzone after that 2-0 win.
Yeah, I mean, Expo Master has definitely worked on his interview technique since the first time we saw him. Like the first time he looked like a deer in headlights.
But that's not everything. We have one more match coming up very soon. It will be between OGN Entus and Sandbox. So coming up right after the short commercial break. We'll be back, guys. Welcome back to Clash Royale League Asia. We are back with the losers of the first. Happens to be the matchup of the losers of the first 2 matches.
Yeah, it's not a tournament format where this is the losers match. This is just happens to be the 2 teams who dropped the first 2 games playing against each other. We have OGN Entus versus Sandbox. Is that going to affect these teams, do you think, coming into this match?
I don't think too much. It should be, every match should be a different one and a new one. And because these games are preset, they knew that they were going against each other from the beginning. They happen to be playing 2 matches today, and because it's like a round-robin system within the region and against each other for every single team around Japan, Korea, and Southeast Asia. The 3 regions being the entire region of Asia. That's why we're having this pennant race with the rankings, and they're a pro team now. They can't be just an individual player. They should be ready to go on top. But this happens to be the loser team from both games.
Yeah, I mean, but both of them played pretty well in their games. It's not like they were completely bad in their first games.
Let's go take a look at OGN Entus once more.
OGN 엔투스의 강한 모습을 보여드리겠습니다.
경기는 되면? 아니 뭐 안 지면 되니까 뭐.
Here we go. Of course, we got to see their intro video before, so we don't have to look at that once again. But they're here again, ready to go jump into match number 3. They dropped down, as we mentioned just now. But there's that elixir that we also have been secretly drinking.
Yeah, ours are empty though compared to theirs. Like, both of us have been polishing it off like no man's business.
We've been dropping off some lava hounds, and we need a lot more elixirs. They're back for match 3 after dropping the first one against op.ggskeleton. They were dropped by 2-0, which could be some heartbreaking. Lots of comebacks also.
Yeah, but OGN Entus once again is Haul, Q-Mills, Astro, and Quasara. We haven't seen Quasara play, actually.
I don't think so. And so far from what I know, he is not in the matchup.
No, he's not. So maybe he is their ace player.
Holding in for the final game. We had Astro doing 1v1, Howl and Q-Mills doing 2v2. And it will be the other way, actually. Q-Mills doing 1v1 and Howl with Astro 2v2. So they're holding in. They're holding that Quasara as maybe the ace player, maybe a different one. Of course, they can't overlap with the 1v1 and 2v2, but they can play once again. Anyone can play once again in the ace match.
And we have Sandbox now. We have Ido, Beaver, Hani, and Shinchu. Once again, we cannot understate the experience on this team, but it didn't actually matter in the last game. They ended up losing to a relatively young team.
Yeah, just ended up falling short a little bit. I think Beaver also in 1v1, he was close. But Expo Master coming up on top, he was not really making too much big of a mistake. But in terms of 2v2, I think they were overall a little bit less practice, maybe getting nervous on this live stage with the audience, with everyone, the production at OGN here.
Yeah, it's a lot different from playing in your bathroom, like when you play Clash Royale, to sitting in front of everyone.
Stinky.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is considerably different between the two.
That is certainly right. I usually play on my bed after waking up or on the transportation, but let's see, the first up 1v1, Q-Mills from OGN Entus.
Against Shinchu, I believe.
Shinchu from Sandbox. Of course, the favorites again. Didn't really get to talk about Q-Mills too much. He was in the 2v2 previously. He ended up 3rd from the qualifiers back in March 31st. 6 wins and 2 losses actually, and this is an amazing result from the tryout. He had 7 wins and a single loss.
Yeah, that's a really good stat. Like, everyone else has been like 4 losses,
like
5
5
losses.
and 4 maybe.
He's a really strong player. And here we have, I believe it's Shinchu? Yeah, it is Shinchu. Crown Cup Korea quarterfinal, CACC quarterfinal. This is a pretty experienced player. We're looking at Lava Hound, Balloon, Guards as favorite cards.
Guards, especially for 2v2 and also in 1v1. Very good tool against the Graveyard, against some miners even. So we do see a lot of guards popping out here and there.
Yeah, guards have become incredibly popular actually since they got buffed. I believe it was last October when they received the buff.
Can't quite remember exactly.
I think it was last October. We were casting CCGS at the time. And since then, they've kind of worked their way into the meta. They've become staples pretty much of a lot of decks.
His favorite decks are a Lava Loon, we would say Lava Hound plus the Balloon, and also some Cycle decks with the Balloon, as his favorite is the Balloon card.
So, do you reckon we'll see Balloon ban?
Maybe. Balloon ban would be the best coming out from Q-Mills, I would say. Q-Mills, on the other hand, loves to run the P.E.K.K.A. Hog Rider deck.
Not the biggest fan of Hog Rider, I'm not gonna lie. We haven't seen him at all today. Oh, hello.
Surprising bans coming out. Q-Mills banning 3 Musketeers. Shin-Chu banning that Graveyard.
Based on what we've seen of their favorite cards, like, I don't know. It just seems like they're not usually playing these styles of cards. So, I mean, Graveyard ban to me means Shin-Chu's probably going to go super heavy.
Shin-Chu did use lots of Golem decks with the Guard, some Tornado, Executioner.
3 Musketeers ban. Q-Mills doesn't want to deal with... I'm trying to think here. Like, 3M decks are very niche, I would say. Like, it's not a card that can be in a lot of different types of decks.
Oh, look at this. Another stat from Shin-Chu. 6 wins from the tryout.
How many losses?
0.
Oh.
And also, another interesting fact is that he used six different decks in all his 6 wins. That's quite amazing. You're against the top tier players in Korea in the tryout, and you win 6. You play 6, you win 6 with 6 different decks. That's quite amazing, I would say.
Was there any 3 Musketeers in those decks?
And that's what I've been trying to find out, but no, not at all.
Interesting ban. Maybe a bit of mind games from Shin-Chu? You can play anything you like, but that seems a bit risky at this point.
But of course, we've been through that big balance update.
We didn't see 3Ms from any team so far, I think, right? Today we haven't seen any.
Yesterday we certainly saw at least a couple, a little bit more than a couple, I believe 4 times or 3 times.
Yeah, I was watching at home and I think I saw it 3 or as you said, 3 or 4 times, and a lot of the time it was the 2-1 split instead of 3 down 1.
We'll be banned this time in this 1v1. Just want to take that out, take some big elixir down, 9 to be in fact. Because once you have something like a giant to push along with the 3 Musketeers, of course you want to split it. But even if you can't do much with the giant, the other lane onto the 3 Musketeer, the solo one onto the other lane, will actually do direct damage.
Yeah, it's a very specific ban. Things like Elixir Collector bans out a lot of things kind of soft ban, you know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to use Golem, it's really hard to use 3M. But actually, banning 3M is a super specific ban that may only affect 1 or 2 decks.
Yeah, we have some personal things, like you not liking Elite Barbarians too much. Like, you would ban that card when you're going in, possibly. Like, my worst is because I used lots of Expo. If I encounter giants, and sometimes my Expo never really connects to the tower, I end up losing. So if I was playing personally, if I knew if I was playing Expo most of the time in this set, then I will be banning that card. And it seems like Q-Mills has brought something that will work pretty poorly against the 3 Musketeers. So it has to be the reasoning why behind the ban.
I wouldn't ban Elite Barbarian in tournament level though. I'd probably ban Hog Rider. You know, it's solid ban.
Has been banned many times last year. Previously, 2017, we had Hog Rider banned.
But he hasn't been banned today, right?
Not at all.
Yesterday?
Maybe once yesterday. Can't quite remember 100%. But it seems like they are almost ready as having their headsets, and the referee is telling them that, can you, so that's the thing, can you hear me when they say can you hear me, because they have the earphones and the headsets. You can't hear them, and then they have to take the headsets off and then say, what did you say? And then they have to say it again.
Ready?
Can you hear me? And then yes, and then put it back, and they will say, can you hear me now? And then he'll take everything off and then says, yes. What did you say again?
Yeah, those earphones they're the same one they use in like airports and stuff like that, right?
From what I know, they use the same ones in helicopters.
Ooh.
Yes, so very high technology noise cancelling. So basically, if you have that on, you are on your own. You're in space. You're in that quiet, silent environment.
I have a pair of noise cancelling headphones, and whenever I turn the noise cancelling on, it makes me feel weird. I don't know why. Like it does feel like you're just suddenly isolated from everything.
Well, they already have the earphones on their ear, and then on top, so they only hear the game sound, because we do have the Korean casters in the venue, screaming out their spirits.
I mean, they could listen to music at the same time, right?
Oh,
like I usually listen to a bit of metal when I'm playing Clash Royale. You know?
If you want to risk your phone of having a 0.02 second delay of dropping down your units, maybe you want to listen to music.
Playing music off the device wouldn't slow it down, right? Like streaming,
of course it doesn't,
maybe.
But just in case it affects any of your competitive play, I won't risk that too much.
What?
Personally.
Like I was trying to watch you guys playing casting yesterday while I was playing Clash Royale. I tried to squeeze the window of the Twitch stream down into the river. Couldn't get it to work.
Of course, I don't know if that's specified or not. If you can have anything other than, if you can have anything else on other than Clash Royale. But of course, going into game, we do have a confirmation that there has been some miscommunication, mislead in which game that you have to join into. So we will be remaking that room, and it has been remade just now. So we will be going into the match very soon. They did not get extra time to revise their deck. There has been some issues in between.
Yeah, the referees would have been watching that, making sure that neither player carried on editing their decks.
Only 3 minutes time to build your deck, and we're going into game 1. Here we go.
All right, so we have Q-Mills for OGN Entus in the blue at the bottom. We have Shinchu for Sandbox at the top. Miner straight out. Hog Rider for his first appearance of the day from Q-Mills. Hits that tower, is dealing 3 hits there. That's quite a decent amount of damage.
He said that was his favorite, along with the P.E.K.K.A. I'm expecting a P.E.K.K.A. to come out. Your first one on 1v1, bring out the deck that you have the most experience, that you feel comfortable.
Yeah, that Mega Minion there didn't quite know what he was doing. Like, he was going for the tower, and then the skeleton, and then the tower. Like, confusing the poor guy. As you can see, the Ice Golem here is going straight for that tower. The Mega Minion is going to go for the skeleton balloon. Knocks it down. Quite a few skeletons, but not that many. Lock comes down. Yeah, I mean, pretty good.
Pretty good start for both. Actually does a ton of damage for the first minute. Gets it down 1000 HP off of Shinchu's left when there's a Hog Rider once again. Cut is not ready and has to drop down the giant skeleton instead.
Does he have anything that can slow down this giant skeleton though? Maybe the tombstone, but is there anything else?
Oh, there's that magic archer we talked about. It will actually take out this tombstone.
Yeah,
all the skeletons also.
That frees up the giant skeleton to go towards that tower. Oh, good good tornado there.
But it's doing straight damage. So much damage to the tower. Magic Archer just continuing its shots directly, going down to 299.
Sandbox, Shinchu there taking a massive lead over Q-Mills. Q-Mills once again drops that Hog Rider, but the Goblin Hut pulls him away.
Poison right on top. Hog Rider will not get single damage onto the tower directly this time. But the poison still does the damage, but still quite far away from the lead that Shinchu has right now. There's another Giant Skeleton dropping down. I believe the Archer will follow very soon. There we go.
I mean, oh, Magic Archer going straight through. Yeah, he had the angle just right to be able to hit that tower, taking it down. But Shinchu's top left tower is quite heavily damaged. There's 20 seconds left. Is it going to be possible to finish it off?
Well, with that giant placed all the way on the far side, this Hog will actually connect. Miner dropping
one.
Emergency.
Two. Is the poison going to be enough? It's probably not at the lock. Oh, just in time there. But the Giant Skeleton has connected with that King's Tower and is dealing a lot of damage.
Also, the Death Explosion damage will do a ton here. Going down to 22. But he
Just
decides to jump into the other Princess Tower instead of going for that 3 crown.
Yeah, crowns don't really matter at the end of the day, I believe.
Only if you go into a tie situation, but it's more important to actually win the game, of course. That damage really not connecting into the tower with the tornado. And Q-Mill's not really having too much other than the poison spell and the Hog Rider to do damage onto the tower. He is in a desperate situation right now.
Yeah, we haven't seen many Ice Golem pulls of the Giant Skeleton. Like, if you position your Ice Golem in the right way so that it walks up the other lane, you can drag that Giant Skeleton away from the towers. And we haven't seen that much today.
Even a
tornado seemed
panic
a bit
tornado
much.
at that moment. I guess he did not have any other spells to actually work against those skeletons from the barrel.
But dropping the hut there right on top of the Hog Rider completely nullifies it. That Ice Golem could have been a little bit further away, so it didn't take that much damage from the Giant Skeleton. But the Magic Archer again, with the angle that's connected onto that tower, does a lot of damage there.
Only twice, but that may be enough.
3,
or
4.
Close to be enough.
So much damage. It was 4 times he connected onto that. And there we go. Shinchu takes game number 1.
He was one other strategy, one other factor that Q-Mills did not really think about was the Magic Archer here. In this game, Magic Archer with the angle, he knew the timing. It's actually very, very hard to predict the movement and knowing the angle where the arrow is going to shoot through and also damage the tower. It just needs a lot of experience.
Yeah, the Magic Archer is, when it's just attacking one thing, it's not doing that much. But when you consider that it pierces absolutely everything and will hit the tower, its damage quickly multiplies in usefulness.
And this is the third match, of course. It's another match, so OGN has called for another timeout for match number 3 already after dropping the first set. So we'll get an extra minute of 2 minutes to revise the deck instead of 1.
It's a super early timeout again from OGN. They did this last time where after the first game they called a timeout. And is it too early, you think? Maybe they should save it for TV2 instead?
I think it's better to call it early because maybe the coach, maybe the captain saw some critical mistakes that Q-Mills was not doing in practice but doing here. Just using that, just to use the time, not to revise the deck, but just to have some discussion, just to calm him down, because this is his first 1v1 in Clash Royale League Asia right here. Maybe just talk about the problems that he was having, why he was not using it, what was wrong with the cycle.
Just a quick stat on today. 3/4 of the game, 3/4 of the games and sets that we've had, the team that won first loses the whole thing.
It was the first one taking both OGN Entus and Sandbox. They both won their 1v1, won the first game
And
of
then-
set number 1, and then lost the other 2.
Yeah. 100% of 1v1 games are won by the person who loses first. So, is this OGN Entus' time to shine, do you think? Are they going to keep this streak up?
Let's see if Kumils is able to come back from that game. His Hog Rider, of course, was waiting for that hut to be down to go straight into the tower, but not really connecting too well. Was late on the target, and 2 minutes up has to keep the time. That's why the staff has to push them away. Of course, you can't talk anymore. 2 minutes up, no more talking. Gotta push them away back to their seats.
Need some proper big bodyguards there just to start picking up the team and just start throwing them out the door kind of thing. Like, get out of here. Time's up.
You have to be fair. Same time given for both teams all the time. Fair. Playing the game under fair, same condition is what we need here as OGN Entus Kumils down 0-1. Let's go right into game 2.
Alright, so here we are, Kumils once again in the blue, Shinchu once again in the red.
And starting with the miner, just like in game number 1. I think Shinchu has got this, maybe keeping the same deck. There we go, Skeleton Barrel. Seems like the same deck is coming in, but Royal Ghost, some changes from Kumils.
Royal Ghost is going to pull the Giant Skeleton away from the miner, leaving the Royal Miner to deal pretty much its full damage to that tower.
Mega Minion will get taken out, so he has to bring in his favorite card. Here we go, the P.E.K.K.A. lining up.
There's that Magic Archer again, such a good card. With the right angle there, hitting the tower just short of that bottom right-hand tower though. But P.E.K.K.A., is he going to get to the tower, do you think?
Well, it was more of a defensive tool against that Giant Skeleton. Now the Royal Ghost goes straight to the tower. Instead of a Hog Rider, there's that Royal Ghost. Will go straight to the tower, not even taking a single damage if there's nothing on the lane.
The Goblin Hut just completely ignores the Miner and the Royal Ghost, meaning full damage on both towers.
Now he can go either way. Down to 1400 for both of the towers on top. Shinchu really has to bring this game to himself.
There's a poison that's going to quickly take down that Goblin Hut, but where is the next push coming from for Kumils here? Like, he has to make a decision about where he's going to go. Is he just going to try to defend this?
See, another miner drop. Wants to focus on to the left one, but
there's a
because
Royal
that's
Ghost.
a damage once.
Oh, beautiful Electro Wizard there. Perfect timing, making sure that it takes down all of the skeletons out of that skeleton.
Magic Archer actually connecting into multiple targets, few hits. Nicely done, but this miner is chipping off his own tower, Jinchu's tower.
Out comes the poison, another skeleton balloon. Ice Spirit, do we have anything that can stop that balloon?
We'll see, comes right on
There's
the down
Wizard again, the Electro Wizard taking him down.
Mega Minion, and this will be the Magic Archer time. Does not connect to the tower yet. Doing
No,
so
he's
much damage.
attacking the miner instead.
But now it will, through the magic, well, just one hit through, and the explosion damage will now come. The skeletons will get taken out by the Royal.
Royal Ghost and the Mega Minion there. Another hit, another 2 hits, 3 hits. Is that tower going to go down there from the miner? It just about goes down. There's not enough time left. OGN Entus Kumils takes game number 2, and it looks like the curse is continuing.
Well, I would say it's a trend, not a curse. Yet.
If this continues.
You bring up, it's only the first day, and after that timeout, Kumils has got it. So against that Magic Archer, Electro Wizard was the one that was really effective, delaying his attack, through attack coming with the arrow, and also stopping onto the other side. Electro Wizard was working out against that Magic Archer. Also against the barrel when the skeleton spawned.
It's an instant zap with the body, isn't it? So it's such a good card to kind of stop those big pushes. It's really good against a lot of different things. Inferno Dragon, Inferno Tower. It's good against anything Sparky even if we manage to see a Sparky. Electro Wizard is good against so many different things.
I think that was the exact card he wanted. Final game. Before the final game, they will have another minute before we go to the final game. Only set number 1, 1v1 between Cumulus and Shinchu so far. And Shinchu kept the same deck for 2 times, and we oftentimes have players just keeping the same deck when they win. They don't really like to change because they have won last time, maybe thinking that they could win once again. And showing less strategy until you lose, I think that's a better way of approaching this pennant race. It's a long 8 weekends of games, so.
But do you think they're putting themselves in a disadvantageous position by keeping the same deck 3 times in a row? Like, you're not showing you have that variety needed to be able to win these games.
I think it's always a good option to not reveal your strategy. And in terms of this long race of the tournament, it's always a better way to have some hidden cards, because your opponent will not be expecting that coming out. The final game is ready between these two, OGN Entus, Sandbox. Who is going to lead match number 3? We are going to find out as we go right in here.
So here we are, game number 3. Same positions as always. And Shinchu starts off with that Goblin Hut. Looks like it's going to be the same kind of deck, but this time with the Goblin Gang taking out that miner almost instantly.
Is it the same deck?
It started off with the Goblin Hut, miner, this time with the Goblin Gang, which is slightly different. Looks like Cumulus is going to be playing the same deck though. The Royal Ghost worked well last time. Will it work again this time? Who knows?
See, a different deck indeed. Dark Prince coming out from Shinchu.
Electro Wizard again. So it does look like Cumulus has gone for the same deck. This time though, Shinchu brings out the Hunter. Very interesting card to take out that miner. And the Electro Wizard does trade, usually kind of okay with the Hunter.
As long as it's a 1v1, oftentimes it's not an 1v1 because you have a lot of units together. But delaying the Hunter with the Electro Wizard is a very good way of dealing with Hunter. Same cost, of course, but Hunter does a lot of spread damage. It works differently. It's not a splash damage, but you have a big unit right in front. It takes a lot of damage.
So here comes the balloon. Electro Wizard's going to slow it down. The Mega Minion's going to try and damage it enough. It's just out.
And the miner again.
Just in range of the tower on that explosion there. Oh, it hurts.
There are lots of things that Electro Wizard can actually counter in this way. And Cumulus, depending on the timing, that could be a great tool for him, or he may actually end up losing big time if he can't really use it to his maximum value of defending.
The Royal Ghost is out again. It's going to go straight for that Goblin Hut. Do you think we should change Goblin Hut to Karaoke Room?
Well, Karaoke Night, yes.
Is it Karaoke Night?
I was slightly leaning towards the Karaoke Night between Clan Wars.
No, I voted for Karaoke Night. But as you can see, Dark Prince again taking out. Dark Prince is such a good card, actually. Like, we've seen it a lot today, and it always seems to do a good job. But Miner there, and the poison. Is that going to be enough to take out that tower for Cumulus?
Let's see, Electro Wizard even dropped on, and that is enough damage on from the miner only, doing the damage with the poison, of course.
There's still 11 seconds left. Shinchu knows now he can't do it. That bomb needed to be much, much closer to the tower.
There's no other spell that he can actually help to finish the game. That will be Cumulus coming back. Well, you called it curse. I called it a trend, a pattern. But It's certainly there today, Simon.
When do we consider a pattern to become a curse?
It's a
After
major.
week 2?
It's a comeback, so it's not a curse, I would say.
Well, it's a curse for the team winning first, right? Yeah, Shinchu won the first game and then ended up getting knocked out. He lost. Gotta say though, the timeout did seem to work for Q-Mills there. It brought his energy back, it brought his motivation back. He seemed, even on the camera, he seemed to be a lot more motivated to be playing that game.
Having a balloon and picking this deck against what seemed like Q-Mills was going to keep the same deck very likely was not the smartest choice, I would say, from Shinchu. I will be critical on that point because a lot of his units, the balloon, the Goblin Gang, and even the Dark Prince, when you're stopped by the Electro Wizard, and oftentimes the Royal Ghost also does the same amount of damage or more than damage, also does some AoE damage there. Splash damage against the gang, so had a great counter when he was basically not really dealing with the miner too well.
Yeah, and the Electro Wizard just slows down a lot of units that need that speed to be good. Like, Q-Mills, I think the Hog Rider thing was more of a test to see how good Hog Rider could be, maybe? Hog Rider, it's the first game and he lost straight away. Like, he's just not powerful in this meta right now.
Just in case that the Hog Rider can just go straight to the tower, but in this case the HUD was available all the time. Once you run into a deck without any structure, then maybe you can have a lot more power.
Yeah, and the Magic Archer finding those angles every time in that first game really did help Shinchu to take that victory, but he never seemed to be able to find those angles again.
Not as much. And there's the timeout call after the very first game, and we go into game number 2, and suddenly he's a changed man. He does so much better with the miner going all the way in.
The Royal Ghost dealing, almost taking out this tower here. He did so much damage there. Both Royal Ghost and miner just did their full work, and there's the miner again to finish off the tower with
Miner
the poison.
plus poison, just over time you just end up doing more than enough damage that you would just have that, not an automatic win, but over time you can't really lose too much, and he has a great way of defending. This game was the one that was calling out that Shinchu made a mistake picking his deck in this case.
Yeah, he just didn't seem to have enough to go against what Q-Mills had thrown out before. The Electro Wizard doing the work on that balloon there. If it had got closer, one hit, it would have been tied.
Just understand that he did not have the best starting hand cycling, but his miner actually did close to no damage. It's a big difference in the spell if you have the poison along with the miner if you don't. And having the fireball, he was just holding on to that for such a long time.
Yeah, he just never needed to throw it out. But now we're going to go into the 2v2. We're going to see, I believe, Beaver again? And Howl, maybe? We'll see. Here is OGN Howl. Favorite cards again. I believe he's lying about this now. Like,
hey, Royal
Giant.
He can put down whatever he wants. So that is his favorite. You don't really have to play. But let's see if he actually played. He loves his favorite, and the most confident deck is the Graveyard and the P.E.K.K.A deck.
So he's lying about his favorite cards right there, right? Totally.
From the tryout and the qualifiers, he has never used
a bomb tower. No one has.
A bomb tower and the Royal Giant. Very, of course.
So here we have Astro. Favorite cards, Princess Tornado and the Ice Spirit. Astro is a good player, right? He won the first game he played today and then lost game 2 and 3. But I don't know, maybe this new confidence that seems to have entered OGN Entus might actually, you know, take them through this 2v2.
And also a legacy player, as we called out. He had the first 1v1 match in our very first match of today. Now coming into 2v2, and he says he majors in physics, and he's pretty smart about all the physics and mechanics and all that. That's in his notes. And he actually took a break off of his school, Yonsei University, one of the top universities in Korea. He actually went for leave of absence for this league. So that's a big commitment right there.
It is. And now we have Beaver up on the screen. Crown Cup Korea champion, we've mentioned before. Favorite cards are very low elixir, very cycle heavy player. He hasn't really shown that much today, right? Like his other game.
A little bit against the Expo Master.
Yeah, but Expo Master is the master.
Beaver is not the master, he's just Beaver.
Yeah, exactly. And here we have Kani. Very interesting favorite cards that are actually useful, unlike Howls with the bomb tower.
Kani was the opponent of the finals against Beaver. He ended up second place. Were enemies before, but now friends in the same clan, same team in Sandbox. As he's also known for some creative plays already, and that's exactly why Sandbox has picked up some creative players, as 2v2 requires a lot more creativity and new cards coming in.
Yeah, there is no real super established meta in 2v2 because pretty much anything can work.
Cannon?
Cannon can work pretty well. I'm struggling to find an example, but it can work well. Cannon cart works really well.
Well, cart, of course, works really well, but the regular cannon that lots of people actually forget that exists.
Yeah, I had to think about which card you were talking about
Not the
for a little bit.
Not the big one, the small one that I'm talking about, the common one. Well, maybe one day we'll get to see it. 2v2. In terms of strategy, Sandbox, I think they will be the one coming out with the creativity, but in terms of the speed and the push, OGN Entus has been using lots of miners, just chip damage oftentimes. Also, their players have been using lots of miners, chip damage. Overall, tonight, this afternoon only.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say, judging by today's kind of
leaning,
the way it's been going today, I think Howl and Astro might have this.
Give me some reasons. You can't just. You have to back it up.
Because in match 1 and 2, the 2v2 team, the team that won the first set, wins the second set.
Okay, we'll see. The bans, minor ban, of course, as I predicted. OGN very likely to use that minor again. Lots of the players from OGN using the minor today, so that's a good ban. And tornado ban again in 2v2. Seems like the right ban.
It does seem like a powerful ban, but at some point you've got to realize that maybe you should try banning something else. Because Howl and Q-Mills, I believe in the last 2v2, they banned out Tornado, right? Mm-hmm. And it didn't work for them very well there.
Let's see. Tornado was open last time. It's, I think, because they were making a mistake. They made a huge mistake by using it both at the same time. Of course it does the damage, but you can't really maximize your both pulls. Having a minor ban, I think OGN has a lot more to talk about because that's a card that they have been using so much. And even against the 2v2, maybe a different strategy this time, but Astro was also using it in his 1v1 match.
I think at this point, most of the 2v2 players are just going to be not making decks with Tornado because they know it's going to get banned. It's going to... If they're not banning it, the other team, there's a good percentage chance that they will, right?
I think about 70% so far, including yesterday's. I'm only talking about 2v2 ban cards, of course.
Yeah. Tornado is good in 1v1, but it's a lot more powerful when you can chain it twice. So they're going to have about another, what, 30 seconds, we think, on these decks? Unless a timeout has been called?
Oh, it's the initial one, so they have 3 minutes.
Oh, it's the 3-minute one?
Because, well, especially for OGN, I think they need more than 3 minutes, possibly. Just not having the minor means they might just not have their playmaking card, as they can't really do chip damage anymore. Maybe they will just go for their old favorite, which is the Graveyard.
Very good shout. Graveyard could make its strong debut here.
On a 2v2, less likely. Maybe we'll just see lots of princes coming out once again. I believe both teams are ready as we hear the music. Let's jump right in to the third 2v2 of today.
All right, so Astro, Howl, blue on the bottom. Beaver, Kani for Sandbox in red at the top. The Ice Spirit connecting with the tower, not dealing too much. But yeah, Astro and Howl, Golem, Dark Prince. They're gonna go for the second Dark Prince, do you think? Maybe, right?
Maybe after the initial push.
There's the Rage Potion as well. That's gonna be pretty useful. Yeah, it's going to come down with the balloon. We've seen this work so many times in the past. There's nothing really there. Oh!
Fireball just enough, but doing tons of damage directly to the tower. Inferno happening a little bit, but when it comes to 2v2, when there's so many units, Inferno Dragon actually has so low of a chance to actually hit onto the right target.
Yeah, it takes good positioning, good timing to make sure that it hits the right thing that you need it to hit. And that time it just didn't do it.
Down to 16, about a third off of the tower.
That pushed it really, really well. I mean, they don't have balloon in their hand right now. There's a poison. It's going to drop probably, yeah, just in front of the tower. There's the Dark Prince. There's the balloon this time. Rage Potion again causes that balloon to pick up so much extra speed. Electro Wizard is just about to stop, but it does get one hit, and that tower is going down.
Very close to be going down, but
is there enough defense here for Astro and Howl?
The Infernal Dragon still alive, connects almost.
Yeah, it looks like OGN Entus here have the number of Sandbox.
They have the major number. Sandbox, the thing is, they are holding in that graveyard. They have never dropped that yet. Maybe if they have chance to, like the last time, the last push, I think they could have done it.
But they chose not to for some reason.
And then the Rage didn't really even connect. So early poison take out the tower, also damaging the guards as they are making their own push, which is also a great way of defending on their own.
Yeah, that Golem is going to soak up so much damage and just slow everything down so that they can defend this push a lot more effectively.
But both sides has Infernal Dragon straight connecting to the Golems from either side. So not really the biggest threat there, but here comes the direct push onto the other lane with the balloon.
Is there going to be anything to slow it? Oh, the bomb is in range, but it's not going to be enough at this point in the game. There's 10 seconds left. I just don't think they've got anything in them to take this victory.
So there are a few differences having the Rage Potion, but having the Rage Potion dropped on top, you can actually just time it and just drop it easily, but instead, Sandbox had a Lumberjack instead, which can be a little bit more of a damaging tool, but once you drop too early or too late, it's not super timed well. It can actually be timed by the opponent, so it is not the same. Sometimes just having the Rage Potion is a better Rage spell is a better option on 2v2.
Yeah, it's always the worst feeling when your Lumberjack goes down last, and if it went down first, you'd have probably done 2 times as much damage to the tower, but because it went down last, that Rage Potion is actually worthless. It doesn't do anything.
And never really getting a chance to pop that graveyard towards the back. That was their key playmaking card, and if you can't really use your playmaking card because you're busy defending or having some kind of push on your own, then you are kind of lost. You lose your theme of the deck, and you can't really make your own push.
Yep, but we're going to be coming down to the end of this minute now as they're talking about the decks, talking about the strategy.
So we did get a call that Sandbox is having their timeout here, as we'll have extra minute to talk about the decks as they drop their first game of 2v2. Because if they lose this one, this is the final one. They lost the 1v1, and they lost the match previously to, this afternoon. If they lose this 2v2, once again, it is actually match point for OGN Entus, so they have to call this one short, talk about a little bit more, maybe having some different decks.
Yeah, if you were the coach of Sandbox, what would you be telling them right now?
Well, our Lumberjack certainly did not work, guys, and we banned the Miner. I don't know exactly why. If we had the Miner, I think it could have been working a great way, but that's stuff to talk about later on. But let's use this time to really get stuff done. What else do we have? What other decks do we have in preparation? Can we actually use the poison this time?
I like how you're very focused on business and not the mentality kind of thing. Because I'd be there going, come on, guys, you can do it. You can do it, guys. Come on. I trust you. Like, you got to build that. You got to build up their ego. These guys have lost.
Hey, I was a player before. Of course, not a Clash Royale player. But when the coach does that, I would just say, please go back to your seats.
Really?
Really?
That's why you're not on the pro team anymore. He's just put me in his death note right now. He's counting how many times I'm like hurting his feelings. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
So the things that go through your brain, what you're thinking, the thought process of predicting of what your opponent is trying to do and what you want to do in that time, it is certainly not enough time to think about everything. And when your coach just comes and says nothing about the game, it's not really big of a help. So, coach, I'm expecting them to really help on the deck, just reminding them, oh, did you play? Remember playing this deck before? It was really good counter on what they have just played. Maybe bring that up. I think that's a good way. Well, we are going into that game number 2 after the timeout, maybe the final one.
Alrighty then. Once again, blue team is OGN Entus on the bottom and Sandbox red team on the top. Golem once again coming down for OGN Entus.
They have the same deck. Brought the same deck as OGN.
Pekka now for Sandbox.
OGN on their match point. They will win this match if they win this game of the set 2v2.
So the Pekka is going to engage onto the Golem, whereas the Knight itself is going to attack, but that Inferno Dragon is going to deal a lot. But the Freeze Potion coming down, stopping all that defense.
Oh, even the Pekka with double prints. This will be a gigantic attack. Inferno Dragon locked onto Pekka, so we'll be dealing a lot of damage now over time. But let's see if there's any connections onto the tower. Zap, charging.
Good Zap stops it. Ooh.
Stop the charge, so actually a lot less damage than compared to what it could have been. A disaster.
Sandbox do get the better out of this first engagement. Will that continue into the rest of this game? We've seen a couple times where the team that got the first strong push didn't quite manage to hang on.
Oh, OGN actually choosing the other lane, interestingly enough, because their tower is the one damaged. They were possibly even thinking of that, thinking of contesting for the push would be the same, but Lumberjack this time from Sandbox along with the Pekka.
Oh, and unfortunately that Inferno Dragon does connect with the Lumberjack first, meaning all these units are now under rage. Oh my, so much
charging
damage
into the
there.
tower, the guards coming just in time with the zap, but not enough to take down everything
But
though.
there's not enough elixir
will be connecting
now.
To the tower, DragonX shots, there goes once, twice! And the third side, this tower is gone.
That tower is gone. They just didn't have enough elixir there to defend. And the Pekka's almost continued his assault onto the King Tower.
I mean, I think we almost know the winner of this game already. As Sandbox, Pekka connecting into the tower. How often does that happen?
Not very often, especially when I'm playing. But
yes. Well, they had the Pekka pushing in from the, as you mentioned, Inferno not really connecting with the Pekka, connecting into the Lumberjack instead. It was a big part.
Yeah, and that Rage Potion just meant that all of Sandbox's units could just rip through everything. And right now I feel like I'm watching a car crash in slow motion because I can't see how OGN Entus are going to win this one.
Sandbox doing freeze, buying time, making sure they get the balloon down. 5 seconds left, and it seems like we have game. Sandbox is going to win this one. Come back after the timeout. Hey, the timeout is working for these teams.
Yeah, but now it's up to who can win the third and final game of this. If OGN wins, it's over. That's it for today. they take match number 3. But if Sandbox win this final game, we're going on to the first ace match of today.
OGN Entus, of course, previously known as CJ Entus. Now rebranded into OGN Entus. Of course, fair conditions for all the teams. Though we are at OGN.
Yeah, OGN do not give any special favors. Like, the spirit of competition is the most important thing.
Of course, the final could be the final one again for Sandbox. OGN Entus still on a match point. That's a thing.
Yeah, they're on match. I don't know, like, I'm really struggling to get behind this idea of keeping the same deck that wins you game 1. I feel like you should try something else in game 2 and try something else in game 3, because your opponent, everyone does this in Korea where they win game 1, they go into game 2 with the same deck, so you know what they're going to play against.
It's holding in as much strategy and hidden, and also if you win the first one, you have another chance in game 3. So I think you are having you're not really tossing out your options. You're using your options to the maximum value, I would say.
I don't know. I just think that you should change your deck in game 2.
Every single time?
Every single time.
Every single time? Doesn't that reveal a deck that you wanted to play next time? Well, we'll talk more about that as the time is up already, or which might be possibly the final game of tonight if OGN Entus wins. But a comeback for Sandbox would mean the first ace match for tonight. Let's go into game 3.
All right, so OGN Entus blue, Sandbox in red for the 3rd time in this game. I just want to say that, like, I don't think it matters holding decks and cards at this point, because it's an 8-week tournament. You're going to be showing absolutely everything plus the kitchen sink, you know? So, like, if you're not creating new decks, then what are you doing? You know, you have to keep changing your decks.
No, playing your chances. Playing your chances, I think, the best way. And this is, of course, the most exciting part about 2v2. Not really putting down anything, as both teams having P.E.K.K.A. So a very similar deck that Sandbox had from game 2, but a totally different one from OGN. In this case, double Prince and the P.E.K.K.A. So similar one, but a little bit different in terms of the spells they are holding.
Yeah, both teams now are just cycling out a few cards just to make sure that they have the perfect hand.
He's angry. He broke the piece with the fireball.
Usually we see this go down to a minute where no one plays anything, but I guess that fireball did just annoy Sandbox a little bit. So they threw out the golem. We have the P.E.K.K.A. Ice Spirit freezing everything out. P.E.K.K.A. does connect on exactly what it needs to connect on. When is that Lumberjack going to go down, and is that going to make much of a difference? It doesn't seem to be. P.E.K.K.A. is still alive, and P.E.K.K.A. still has a decent amount of HP.
And in this case, great zap to cancel the charge damage from both princes.
Yeah, it's very, very even right now. One player on each side has a lot of elixir, the other one doesn't. Like, it's very, very,
A few differences we see. We have a freeze from Sandbox and Electro Wizard, but OGN Entus having the guard instead, and the rage instead of the Lumberjack, so that will be the differences.
Yeah. Those double knights deal so much damage to these golems with that poison underneath as well. P.E.K.K.A.'s going to come in fully hit. Looks like they want to try and play the balloon. There it comes. This balloon, nothing to contest it right now. There's the freeze, holding it in place. Mega Minion will take that down.
A lot of damage, but the zap is coming, and another Mega Minion has to be dropped so that the balloon is taken care of before it connects. Great
Sandbox's P.E.K.K.A. goes in there. It has so much HP left. He's going to have to throw down a lot of defense here for OGN. And they have it. Wow.
Just a single Ice Spirit to draw attention from the P.E.K.K.A. was maybe going to land on a hit onto that tower. Great use of Ice Spirit there. didn't really get to see too much, but
this is very, very equal right now.
Go down to overtime. And you gotta make it happen. Golems
Oh no!
Dropped onto the other side. Will this be just the race? It's so much faster for Sandbox because they dropped right onto the bridge.
Yeah, and the P.E.K.K.A. is on the opposite side, not going to be able to take down this Golem. But if that push is uncontested on that side, he's going to take down the tower quicker.
And
it's
direct
over.
damage. Sandbox takes it. Just knowing the overtime because they had it far placed. So far placed from the bridge. The moment the Golem and the Dark Knight was placed onto the left side, they knew exactly what to do.
It was
comeback here.
That P.E.K.K.A. being placed behind that Golem just meant that all their defensive tools that they were holding on before were gone.
Basically dropping down the Golem and the P.E.K.K.A. basically means that they can't really defend for the next 5-6 seconds. They don't have anything big of a tool to defend, and they had the right timing. They were thinking, OGN Entus was thinking into a longer game possibly because there were some time, few more minutes of overtime I believe, but once you lose that single tower, it is done. It is called overtime for a reason.
Yeah, and now we're going to have the ace match, and we have no idea who's going to be in this.
Yeah, the first ace match for today actually. Both matches 1 and 2 ended up.
So the ace match can be any player in the team, right? Even if they just played the 2v2.
Yes, it could be anyone from the 4. They have before that, we will have the highlight of the 2v2 here.
Yeah, that game 1, OGN Entus played really, really well. They pushed heavily. The Golems slowed everything down. The Infernal Dragon did so much work as well.
The Rage with the Graveyard, not really the best hand for Sandbox against this type of deck.
Yeah, Rage has kind of understated how important it's been in most of these 2v2s.
Not just the Rage, Freeze has been so effective also for Sandbox, especially when they not just using it as an offensive spell, but to delay the balloon, trying to freeze a lot of units down to make sure they have a lot of free time to do the damage.
Now, I still think that you should change your deck in game number 2, purely for this reason. Like, they play the same deck, they lose, and then they've got to try an untested deck in game number 3, where they could go back to their first deck in game number 3. You know, like, for me, I just feel like they should be changing their decks in game 2.
Hey, what if you don't feel confident enough to play the new one? Maybe if you practice most of your time on 1-2 things, you can't really focus on something else. You have to bring something that you have been practicing. Maybe that's the thing, because 2v2 is a very new competitive mode that we are coming in here as. They did get some time, but not like years of practice before. Compared to 1v1.
And Sandbox, they knew they had
this. A beautiful freeze right there with the Mega Minion taking out that balloon.
Freeze is so good. This push was really good too, but the freeze again, MVP spell right there. As the Mega Minion and then the Ice Spirit and then the Zap, just everything stopping that balloon from going anywhere near the tower.
Fireball. Tons of damage too, I believe 6 units right there, and that was the mistake. P.E.K.K.A. Golden being dropped, and the moment that happens, Sandbox drops everything onto the other side. Look at that, Prince after Dark Prince.
Yeah, OGN went for the slow push, Sandbox went for the fast push beats the slow push.
Golem and P.E.K.K.A. so slow going towards that bridge. Took a long time. When on the other side, you have the ones charging in. Triple Prince. You can't really do too much about that.
Yeah, triple pinch, pushing that Golem as quickly as possible.
Let's see, we are waiting for that final confirmation on the ace match. I believe they are, they get to submit their roster for the ace match after set 2. So still yet to know who is going to be the one playing oftentimes from yesterday from Southeast Asia. Ended up being players who played in the 1v1 before. So, but both teams played twice today, so we actually don't know.
I think we could see Ido from Sandbox. That's definitely a strong shout. He's such a rock for this team. He's
Very
been here
experienced
forever.
Also.
Yeah. OGN Entus, though? I don't know. They do have that Kesara.
Is it going to be Kesara? He has not been playing at all tonight.
Yeah, he's been the reserve player for both games today, so I think it is him, right?
From the profile.
Yeah,
Yes, he is. Hidden card. He has been sitting out for this entire match. Finally, he's here, and he is the ace player of OGN Entus. This is the time they need. Both teams dropping their matches earlier on.
Now, Kesara is the youngest player in his team. Yeah, he likes his Golem cards.
What's his favorite card?
According to
what's
this,
his least favorite card?
Doesn't say his least favorite card.
Does he say none?
No, where? It doesn't say. Favorite card here is Golem, but it doesn't say not favorite card. Is that
Well,
on the
it
other
says something about something you don't like. And
Things you don't like.
he has
and
nothing.
Said nothing.
He likes everything.
So he's a super positive person. He likes everything. I do like Astro's things you don't like. Sunlight.
Sunlight? Yes,
That's
he's a pure gamer. He's born gamer.
He's
If
a-
you don't like
He's
sunlight,
a vampire.
He doesn't like sunlight.
And as we predicted, Edo for Sandbox. Edo is the most, I would say, experienced player for Sandbox.
Pairing all the... Of course, there are great players, but he's been playing in lots of smaller ones. Also, I believe in some college Clash Royale matches. Previously in few universities that happened, only in Korean coverage, of course. Early last year and the year before also. And Clash Royale has been having lots of smaller tournaments even in Korea. Just like Southeast Asia, I believe the same in Japan. A lot of these players are actually have tons of experience in tournaments. Just a smaller one, not as big as this one, as this is the first time with the pro teams actually joining the league here.
His most charming quality for Edo is his nose.
Wait, I didn't quite get to see his nose.
Yeah, I know. You
missed his
never
charming
think about it
quality.
until someone says like, "Oh, my best feature is my nose," and then you look at the nose and you're like, "Well, really?" But yeah, like some of these questions are really bizarre. Like I love reading these things. Like, you know, what is your hobby other than Clash Royale? Nothing.
Well, I know one of the players wrote down, what is your hobby other than Clash Royale? Said COC. He's a born Supercell
that was actually
boy.
Edo, yeah. Supercell. Edo is a pure Supercell player.
A lot
Yeah,
of
right here.
Yes, right there. Clash of Clan.
Do you think his nose is his most charming quality? Like looking at him now, I'm like.
Overall, yes, overall.
What, you saying the rest of his face is terrible?
No, overall, like I'm saying, his overall charming. He has overall charming face. So, looking at lots of the things, there are lots of cool profile information about the players, and we're having a lot. What's your favorite card, Simon?
Favorite card?
We talked about a lot about your least favorite.
Nightwitch.
Nightwitch.
Yeah, I really do like Nightwitch.
Then I'm guessing you use a lot of Golem decks.
I used to, yeah.
Or Giant even.
No, I never used the Giant Nightwitch. We saw that in the last set, and it was really good, but I just never wrote down the deck list. I just lost it from my mind completely, and I do play a lot of Golem decks.
Okay.
But I've switched lately to Expo decks, but I still like Nightwitch.
Expo is easy. Expo is a very easy one. I have a weird one with the Bandit and the Electro Wizard, but it works quite well. And of course, it's not as defensive as the one we saw, like the Archer. I do not have the Archer with the Expo. Most of the time, it pairs up with the Archer, but I use it with the Goblin Gang and the Bandit, and even the Tesla. No Fireball either. The Log and the Zap. So it's a weird mix with the spells. I have my own, but it climbs up pretty well.
Yeah, your decks do seem to climb up pretty nicely, whereas my decks kind of like linger and then drop like a stone, and then it's like, all right, fine, I'll play a Hog Rider deck to get myself back up to where I was.
And then there's my Tesla. Boop. And
Yeah,
then your Hog Rider is gone.
and then I play against you, and I just feel bad for my life, you know? Like, what am I doing? Why do I keep playing against G-Clef? He keeps beating me. Like, I got to throw in the towel at some point.
Well, if you go into 2v2, if you win, you get those crowns. And also, you get the chest. Aha, that's why.
I don't play 2v2 myself. I only play 1v1. This is, yeah.
Of course, if there is, I don't think there has ever been a gold rush or the gem rush on 2v2. It's always on 1v1.
It's always on
only.
1v1,
Yes.
yeah.
I think it's about time that we have some crazy events for 2v2 also. It's hectic already.
I mean, you could have the crazy event for 2v2 where you don't have a partner and you play Clash Royale the way it was meant to be played. 1v1.
Oh.
That joke almost went right over your head.
I was saying, oh, what are you trying to say? Okay, going back to it seems like we're having some issues in the venue. Maybe some. Okay, we do see the banned cards. Pekka from Casera and Elixir Collector. So big bans coming out. Seems like we're going to have some small cycle decks.
Expect to see miners, poisons, maybe a graveyard this time. We haven't seen many of them.
Well, after that, they will have 3 minutes to build. Guessing we never really got a chance to see what Casera likes to do.
Yeah, this is Casera's first game, and he is an unknown so far. Like, we've seen Ido play a few times, but Casera, we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, there's a big X. Clash Royale offline tournament experience X means there has been none.
None. Nothing.
And he wants a player that he wants to watch out is Expo Master.
Everyone loves Expo Master.
He likes to use lots of Prince decks.
What is your current obsession? Not wasting Elixir. For Casera. For Casera, his current obsession is not wasting Elixir.
Not wasting Elixir seems like the way to go.
That's how you win games. Elixir management is one of the most important things.
That is right, and counting cards. Those two should always be equipped by the pro player. You should be reading cards and reading, well, even we know as a moment, because once you play enough of Clash Royale, you know at certain moments, you know that, oh, I have a lead right now. I can just push, and he won't be able to defend. Those things happen, and you will know instantly because they will know, of course, because they have been playing this game for a long, long time. And super high ladder.
Yeah, when you're first starting out, all that stuff you have to work on and you learn. But then as you've been playing the game for nearly 2 years, like some of these guys have, it's second nature.
And one more thing, if you play enough, you know if the opponent is on a phone call or not. Once you send something and he doesn't respond, and then you test the opponent, right? You end up sending one more. Is he AFK? Send one more bandit, and if it goes straight, okay, this is a time.
Throw
everything. Yes, yes, that is the best feeling. But before you do that, you always have to test the opponent a few times, right?
Test the water, because if you do it too much on after the first one and he's not,
maybe
he's
it's
just,
a bait. I know. Maybe he has a rocket and he can actually kill all of your units. He can come back into the game.
Yeah, I had that happen the first time. Nobody playing against me takes phone calls. They're probably much like me and aren't very popular, so we don't get phone calls, you know?
Oh, I get lots of spam calls. That's it. That's basically it. But other than that, guys, the most important thing is Ace Match is ready. Let's go into game 1.
All right, so we have Casera in the blue at the bottom of the map. Ido in red at the top, and Ido once again showing off this Goblin Hut.
We already see the reason why he banned that Pekka, because he was going to bring that Giant.
Yeah, you don't want Giants going against
Barbarian
Pekkas, but this is a building deck here for Ido. Barbarian Hut.
Summons deck here, as he will just try to push that in from now on until the end, unless there's a poison.
Yeah, poison will take down the lifespan of the buildings quite a lot. But there is an Electro Wizard as well for Ido. But the Baby Dragon is happily connecting onto that tower.
Even the Prince, not getting the charge, but a single damage does actually a ton of single unit damage there.
He
had
didn't
to use the miner also to
Yeah,
defend.
Edo didn't have anything to defend that baby dragon.
Certainly a tough one right there. Giant walking in again. Now this time the Dark Prince and the Prince together. And Edo summoning a lot, but now almost connecting into the tower. The Dark Prince connects. That will be a tower gone.
It. Yeah, Edo's getting walked on right now. Kesara does such a good job. His towers have barely been looked at.
Barbarian Hunt, a very good tool, but once you cannot really make your push, it becomes so hard. I don't think Edo really got the full value out of either structures, either hut that he placed right there. Now the worst thing is if you end up losing the tower, you end up losing so much more because there are less of a space that you can put your summons.
No, you can put your summons anywhere still, but your opponent
Yeah, but your
has
opponent will
more
just
area.
take it out instantly. You can put the giant right next to it, and basically you would never get the full value.
So once again, that baby dragon, the poison comes down, but that's not going to be enough. The baby dragon is probably going to connect onto this tower once more.
Oh, this time a lot better of a cycle because he has an Electro Wizard. Milebi did not have that initially. That's what it costed so much for him. He couldn't really stop the charges or the giant from walking in.
Now we have double barbarian huts. Damn, like that would spawn so many barbarians.
But look at that giant stop right on top, just making sure all the damage goes to that giant.
Yeah, and it's like once you have one tower advantage, you can just keep throwing things to distract your opponent's push. And that will save you in the long run.
Finally, a poison tower to come back, but is it going to be enough? I don't think he's so far away from taking any damage more.
I think Kesara has won this game. Phenomenal play by Kesara. Actually, like just outplaying Edo so easily there.
Yeah, giant double prince. Still a very strong deck with the poison. As long as you have that P.E.K.K.A ban, I think just from the ban, Edo should have been expecting this deck to come out. Maybe it was just so common that he was not thinking that it was going to come out from Kesara in this important match. It's one of the most common deck with the poison, and I didn't see anything crazy of a fix from that trendy deck right now.
So for game 2, I think Kesara is the type of player who will change his deck. I don't want to see him go out, you know? I want to see him win, change his deck and win game 2. Just to prove me right.
Will he though? No.
Probably
not. Of course he has, we're quite far away, and also he has his headphones, so he can't really listen to anything that we're saying.
Yeah, but it does look like he is making the most of this 1 minute, and usually when someone doesn't change their deck, they're sitting like Edo, just super relaxed.
Well, this game win for Kesara will secure a win of the match for OGN Entus, but maybe a comeback from Edo with game number 2. The game is ready, guys, between these two players. Maybe the final one, OGN on a match point. Let's go into game 2.
All right, Kesara in the blue on the bottom, Edo red on the top. Down comes a Frost Golem, and bats for Edo to start off. That's usually just to keep cycling your deck, because you know the bats are not going to do
We
too
do have a
much
different deck from Kesara this time. Ice Wizard was not available, I believe, last time. And Edo trying to just do some chip damage, maybe with the miner.
Didn't get that much. There's a graveyard for Kesara. And it seems like it's going to do a decent amount of damage onto this tower.
Because the Princess Tower locked onto the Ice Golem right before. Great chain of connections there.
And the Ice Wizard as well, slowing down and attacking that top tower. There's the Ice Golem. Is the miner going to... Oh! Activates the King Tower.
Worst case scenario for Edo. You're going for the chip damage with the miner. Maybe one more spell. I'm guessing a poison to follow up later on. But
activating that King's Tower kind of does put a dampener on a miner, you know?
And even having a tombstone against him, Ido has he's in a big trouble. And he had that balloon, but is it really going
Mega
to
Minion
connect?
was played on the right-hand side, but the balloon was on the left. That balloon is going to connect. Perfect tornado. Ice Wizard there is going to freeze everything down. As you can see, the King Tower doing so much defense against that balloon.
Having that tornado instead of a poison when he has a graveyard, great counter. So Ido, not just that he was sad about activating the King Tower, but the fact that Kusera had a tornado was the biggest problem because he was holding that balloon until this time.
Yeah, and tornado and balloon is kind of a hard counter. Goblin Gang, and then the goblins, and then poison. Poison for Kusera as well.
Also
very spell heavy here. But again, those skeletons did so much work.
Already used. Leave he's just in cycle for another tornado, so this balloon shouldn't be too much
Uses
of
it
a
against
problem.
the bats, doesn't matter. But Kesara's bottom right-hand tower is now at 962. That graveyard poison needs to do so much work to even out the score
And
here.
the Goblin Gang being dropped down, but on top of that poison, so he can't really do too much. Going for that maximum attack, also splitting apart with the miner onto the other side.
Uh-oh, that looks... Oh, good tornado again. Mega Minion there to clean it up. But again, Ido somehow manages to scrape out a lead here.
A scratch by scratch onto the other side. As we're throwing out Miner along with the balloon this time, Miner is going to take the damage for both. There's a tombstone. Perfect counter to draw its attention.
Yeah, Kesara has not been dealing with the miner at all on that tower. It's just left. And I mean, yeah, the King Tower is active, but apparently it's not enough to save that tower. However, Kesara is dealing a lot of damage to that top left-hand tower. Is it going to go down?
And it
will!
will!
Does!
Just enough, and the log was not even needed there to finish the game. And that's the end of set number 3. And also the match finally goes to OGN Entus.
Yeah, that means OGN Entus finished today 1-1. Sandbox finished today 0-2. Even though they're the most experienced team. 0-2.
Creativity was the word, was the vocabulary they used, the word when they wanted to pick up the team. The coach was mentioning that creativity, unexpected, fun players to play with, but not going to work as well tonight. The first beginning, they are going to return home with without any wins tonight. Ido looks pretty unhappy after.
I don't know, he doesn't look too bummed out. He looks kind of okay, but yeah, the whole team still look kind of happy actually. They're just, yeah, it happens, but we've got 7 more weeks to
They're in
fix
front of
this.
a camera.
Yeah, I know. You know, once they get outside, they're gonna beat him up or something like that, like teammate revenge.
Well, for OGN having a major comeback, finally going all the way to the ace match, though not the final game, but still. And as you predicted, Kusera actually changed up his deck
And
to
won.
graveyard.
And won. I tell you, like, changing your game into that second game is so important.
Let's have the highlight of the ace match between the two once again.
Yeah, Kesara's giant double knight deck worked really, really well actually. And plus there was nothing there really to stop that baby dragon. I don't know what he was thinking having Barbarian and Goblin Hut. Like, I never tried to put 2 huts together. It drains so many resources.
Putting them, of course, together would pressure the lane a little bit more, but once you have the giant against you, we'll just soak all the summoner's damage. And once you have the prince to back it up, it's really hard for you to create your own push, especially single prince is okay, but the dark prince is the real problem once it stacks up. It would just do the splash damage onto multiple targets.
Game number 2, we see this miner activate that King Tower, and that was it. Like, after that, Kesara never actually tried to defend the miner. He just let his King's Tower do the work.
Tornado being effectively used by Kusera.
And the tombstone there was perfectly timed as well to make sure that the balloon would turn around and not keep going. But yeah, taking down that tower there, poison, graveyard, lob. We saw that a lot last year, and it worked this time again.
Goblin Gang not really too effective. Maybe the guards, I think, could have been a better tool to work against the graveyard, especially. He also had another source of goblin, maybe just spear goblins, I believe, or just the regular goblins, either one. Very low cost. Was weak against that poison. That was the drill. And we will go straight into the final interview.
매치 엔투스와 샌드박스의 경기 함께 하셨는데요. 오늘 두 번의 경기를 하느라 굉장히 힘이 드셨을 것 같은데 그럼에도 불구하고 기쁨이 넘쳐 계시는 선수 한번 만나보실게요. 네, 엔투스의 하울 선수 인터뷰 한번 해보실까요?
안녕하세요. OGN Entus.
오늘 두 경기를 하느라 힘드시진 않았는지 궁금합니다.
Of course, having to play two matches today, was it tiring at all?
긴장이 많이 될 것 같아서 선수들 이제 많이 격려도 하고 우왕청심환도 좀 먹고 해서
we took some
긴장을 최대한 줄여보려고 했는데
vitamins,
많이 떨어서 좀
energy
경기력이
drinks
많이 안 나왔던 것 같아요.
두 매치
ease
모두
the
2대2
nerves a little
대결
bit, but I think we were
합류하셨는데요.
quite
2대2의
nervous on our
유도
first stage.
자신 있으신가요?
So I think that's the reason why we couldn't do so well in the first match.
아, 2대2 매치요. 오늘 2대2 매치가 이제 제가 항상 들어가 있고 좀 승률이 오늘 0%라 조금 많이 걱정되고
I was always in the 2v2 match
그나마 좀 1대1 하는
we lost both
선수분들이
of them.
진짜 너무 잘해주시고 해서
But for my teammates who played super well in the 1v1, I'm really proud of them. I thank them personally.
하다 보니까 좀 좋은 결과 나온 것 같습니다.
I think we did a lot of
코치 겸
practice.
선수라고 들었습니다. 선수들에게 어떤 코치신 것 같으세요?
Show the results
좀 가족
of
같은
today.
분위기를 많이 했고요. 좀 나이 차가 조금 이제 많이 있는 선수도
We do have some age gap in between our team.
서로 친구처럼
between the
좀
members,
편하게
but we are like a family.
재밌게 좀 연습하고 훈련한 것
We
같습니다.
like to have fun during practice.
네, 오늘 첫 에이스 결정전이 나왔어요. 페이서 선수를 내보낸 이유가 있으실까요?
일단은
Was there a reason for Coursera to come out in the ace match?
노출된 선수들보다 조금 숨겨져 있고 비장의 카드 같은
We wanted to use him because the other players actually played before, so we wanted to hide some strategy. He was not revealed at all.
그리고 케이사 선수께서 자스타프 덱을 들고 나오셨어요. 혹시 그거는 상의하에 나오신 건가요?
네, 제가 일단 이 덱을 쓰는 게 좋을 것 같다고 말했고요. 덱도 이제 원래 연습한 것보다 좀 한두 개 제가 추천해서 바꿔서 일단은 좋은 결과 만들고
If the graveyard won the final decks,
결과론적으로는
do you guys talk about that
다행인
before?
것 같습니다.
Yes, I had some recommendations personally during the timeout and the break time. So having some new decks actually helped us a lot in today's match.
일단은 좀 너무 패배감에 휩싸여 있어서 좀 밥 먹으면서 이제 점심시간 때 이제 좀 많이 격려를 했죠.
Yeah, against OPGG we lost, but over the lunchtime we were talking throughout, having some feedback,
다음날 이제 들어온 경기라고 새로운 경기라고 하고 샌드박스와 전부
cheering us up. And then when we went to the second match, we just had the mindset this is going to be a new game, a brand new game. Let's just have fun and enjoy our new game.
해외 경기들 있는데 오늘 같은 실수를 보완해서 더 강한 OGN 팀이 되도록 노력하겠습니다.
And after all the game, we also have the regionals next week, and also against the other regions starting from week 3.
네, 이렇게 해서 OGN Entus가 세 번째 매치로 승리를 했다는 소식을 알려드리면서 앞으로도 클래시 로얄 리그 아시아 많이 사랑해 주실까?
OGN Entus.
그럼 다음 주에 만나요. 안녕.
I think we're coming back right to us, but that's going to be it for us as for myself, G-Clap, and Simon will be done very soon.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure today, and I'll be back tomorrow. G-Clef, you're not? Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow.
But we'll have the result. We'll have the result. There is the result for the day. OGN Entus coming back after a loss against OPGG. OPGG and King Zone DragonX
beating out Sandbox, and then OGN Entus beating Sandbox for the end of the day. Honestly, King Zone DragonX, they looked really, really good today. And I think they look better than OPGG and OGN Entus.
We're very solid, and lots of expectation for Sandbox, but dropping both of their games. Competitive known, lots of competitive players, lots of great experiences as we have on the paper, also known for their previous tournaments. But here's the next matchup tomorrow. Actually, we'll have our first Clash Royale League Asia with Japan tomorrow.
Yep, and we're going to have Game With versus Ponos Sports, FAV Gaming versus Detonation Gaming, and Game With versus FAV Gaming.
So we have the Japanese teams coming up. We had Southeast Asia yesterday, Korea today, and Japan tomorrow. It will continue till next weekend, and then after the first 2 weekends, it will actually we'll have the regions going against each other starting from week 3 all the way to week 8. So it will be a long tournament, and always players have to be prepared for a lot of their games here.
Yeah, and the traveling as well is going to play into it a lot.
It was only the second day Korea is finished for tonight, but Japan coming up, as you guys saw on the screen very soon. As for myself, I casted with Joel last night, but tomorrow you'll be back with Joel. It will be Joel and of course Simon casting together for the Japan region. But for us, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching, enjoying the Korean region. We will be bringing this broadcast every weekend, so stay tuned. We will be back every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. See you guys tomorrow.
Later.
Well, actually, I closed already, but we're having the piggyback, so we have to delay slightly a little bit more. But always, see, we ran out of our elixirs here.
Yeah, that's why everything slowed down.
Everything slowed down, and I've done my closing already. But we don't even have the elixirs. We can't even get anything. But that's it. We're going out. See you tomorrow.
Wow.